Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 383 of Pixels and Ink, the official podcast of CG Magazine, where we take a critical eye to gaming, comics, tech, and media. I'm your host today, Krista Hoog, and I'm joined by our editor-in-chief, Brendan Fry.
Hello there.
Dana Eileen.
Oh, hey, what's going on?
Jordan Biordi.
That's me.
And we're joined also this week by a new appearance on the podcast, David Walters.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us this week.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We brought you on for some Sage experience based on many reviews this week, but we'll get to that a little later. I want to give the whole show away.
We're gonna talk about stuff.
Things, possibly as well. Wonders of
things and stuff.
Stuff
I'm not
and
ready.
things.
I'm not ready for this, guys.
We're Rick Grimes up in here. Stuff and things.
Ooh, stuff and things.
Big week though. A lot of news coming out this week. Big games were played and ads were shown. But Paramount Plus actually tried to steal all the thunder from that with a huge Investor Day presentation, where they announced a whole ton of new potential new content and some stuff that's in the works still. First of all, They announced that they are working on bringing the band back for another Chris Pine-led Star Trek movie.
Yes. Like they're all coming back. Like I'm excited.
It sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like it's still in the works. It was kind of confusing, but they're trying to get the whole band back together, basically.
I'll take
Khan
it.
won't be back.
I will take it.
Khan can always come back.
Yeah.
Or will he? Khan wasn't in the movie in the first place, right? So.
Not true enough.
I like it.
One thing I wasn't sure about was if J.J. Abrams is going to be involved at all. Is he,
I don't know.
Like
I
I
didn't
believe
see
he's
that.
just producing, so I'm not quite sure who's supposed to be the director on this new film.
I don't know. Did we IMDb it? Did we get
Does
there?
it have an IMDb page?
I'm just gonna hope as hard as I can that it's not him, because after how he ruined Star Wars, I'm not very in a forgiving mood right now.
Untitled Star Trek sequel. Fancy.
How he ruined episode
Matt
9 of Star Wars,
Shackman? Matt Shackman?
I don't know who that is.
Shackman?
he was a producer on the first ones, I believe.
Well, now he's the director, apparently.
That's cool.
It's not JJ, so I'll take that.
Yeah, put that stupid mystery box away.
Jordan has some things to say today.
I'm
We
sassy.
know
always has
he-
things to say.
I'm
What
not
else?
sassy.
Oh, this guy directed WandaVision and Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And
yeah,
It's Always
WandaVision,
Sunny
I
in
mean.
Philadelphia.
I'm up for that.
Those are very different things.
It is. And an
Very
episode of The
disparate.
Boys. 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. 43 episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think he's
So,
fine.
like, all
I
of
think we're
them?
good. I think
Okay,
we're
yeah.
fine.
As
Always
long as
Sunny.
JJ is staying out of the writing room, basically.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
What if we bring back the space whales?
Jeez.
He's really good at a first installment of a franchise. Like I've never been a big Star Trek fan, but I did enjoy the first of his Star Trek films, and even the second one wasn't so bad. Personally, like I'm a big Star Wars fan instead, and like I love Force Awakens even still. It's just what he did to Rise of Skywalker, or rather what he did with Episode 9 in that trilogy, just kind of
There was a lot going on.
What are you
soured
talking
the whole
about, Chris?
thing.
There was no episode 9. The series ended at episode
Do we
8,
just,
and
we
all
just don't talk about it?
yeah, we
Okay,
just
that's
believe
fine.
that all the good stuff happened. That
So
needed
Jordan's
to
not talking about Bruno in this one.
happen.
With
Yes,
David
no.
joining us today. Only David is allowed to speak.
I can't handle all this pressure.
Let's make it weird.
Do it.
Let's
Tell
make
us
it
your
weird, guys.
thoughts on
Let's make it-
episode
that'll be-
9.
Let's make him the host today. Go.
Go!
Jesus.
I hand it to you.
Many
David's just
things
crying.
happened.
He's
many
just
many
crying.
things.
Oh, he's not wrong.
That's true.
So-
Things did happen.
I gotta
That
give him
is-
that.
Truth and obscurity
No.
is what I'm here for.
There you go.
That's so fitting when your mic is or your webcam is actually out of focus, as you say, obscurity.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Blend into the background.
I don't know how to fix this right now, so let's. There we are.
Oh,
Oh,
there it goes.
are you all
It's,
blurry?
Things
was.
are probably better
It's your
the other way.
face. Sorry.
It was
It's your
just the
face.
webcam was just feeding off of his words there. So
Mhm.
It's because we made him change his outfit. What's my hair doing? It's making
It's
like a
because I
little heart.
readjusted in my chair.
Oh, don't do that. Don't
Don't do
breathe
that,
either.
apparently.
Don't be comfortable.
No, don't ever be comfortable. That's the
Why
worst
are
thing
there
you
so
can
many
do.
syllables when you say it? Okay,
Because that's how many letters there are in the word.
not syllables. So anyway,
Syllables.
Anyways,
syllables.
yeah. So there's lots of other stuff that Paramount announced as well. So I really hope you enjoy their franchises.
Aren't they doing
first
they're
of-
doing a Knuckles spin-off? Also?
Yeah, so they've already announced that they've greenlit a Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yeah,
We're
3.
still like 2 months out from the second movie coming out, and they've already greenlit the third. So
maybe it's tested really well.
it shows confidence,
it's
if
just-
nothing else.
Oh, it's one of the few franchises they have right now.
Maybe.
Well, that being
I
said,
mean,
they've got a
it
lot.
looks good.
There's a long list here. They've announced the next season of South Park already. A new series of Beavis and Butthead still in the works.
Wait, Beavis
They have a
and Butthead?
weird
Is-
Beavis and Butthead new
Mhm.
series.
What?
Plus, they're writing the entire
Yeah.
backlog of episodes.
King of the Hill going to Paramount Plus too? Was that going to be somewhere else? I know that's going to
That's
be a
Disney,
revival,
I
too.
think.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that'd
it would make
be-
sense.
Why
This
wouldn't
is
it be
Fox.
Disney?
Well, it's Fox originally, so it
Yeah.
would be Disney now.
Life is weird.
Anything empty fee would be.
Disney's weird. Life is weird.
Well, yeah,
Is-
Pam
yeah.
and Tommy is on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Oh, you have no idea how sad it made me the other day when I just just wanted to have some background noise, and I was like, it'd be some good noise right now, some Family Guy. So I loaded up Netflix, thinking that it was still there, and then it clicked in. And I was like, oh, that's right, it's Fox now, so it's on Disney Plus.
Ooh, it's so weird.
Yeah,
Disney is a scary place now.
Disney's a weird place.
Yeah.
Well,
Also,
yeah, a
Alien
little
is
weird.
Disney. Just think about that for a second. Alien is Disney.
I can't wait till the Xenomorph shows up in Kingdom Hearts 4.
I kind of want that now.
Alien and Star Wars. They missed the boat hard with Star Wars and Marvel and Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't know why those guys didn't show up.
I know nothing.
I'm picturing that scenario, and it's just horrifying.
There's a gummy ship. It would have been perfect.
There's something on
Gummy
board
ship
the
assault
gummy
on the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
Some other
got
things
Goofy?
that Paramount announced. Paramount also has announced they've greenlit season 2 of Halo again, well before the first season has premiered.
Yeah, that's.
Um,
I don't know how I feel about that.
That's a
Like
little
that's
weird.
either it's gonna be so good, or I guess we don't care.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look so far based on the trailer. It doesn't look terrible. I know they're
I
kind
think
of going in
great.
and they're going in a sort of Halo 1 or pre Halo 1 direction where it's the origins of the Chief and whatnot. It just kind of makes me mad that it's not the guy who does the Chief's voice doing his voice.
I didn't know the Chief had a voice.
He does.
It's a pretty iconic voice.
It's not.
Miss Xbox.
It's
come
not.
on.
I would say it
It's John.
is. It's pretty.
I told you,
recognizable.
Halo's. Shh, don't tell.
It sounds like a generic white guy voice.
No, but
It's pretty
it's
nothing, yeah.
if you've played Halo long enough, you recognize.
You would
the
recognize.
Chief's
So
voice.
for fans, it would be a thing. And
It's
I
like-
mean,
Or
it's
miss
like-
5 lines per game.
if you're never
but-
going to see his face, then there's not really a reason to not have that voice. But we don't
Exactly.
know, and it's Pablo Schreiber that's playing him, I believe, and that's a
Mhm.
decent name. So I have
Yeah.
a feeling there's going to be a face. Sorry, guys.
Steve Downs
I don't
was
know.
his voice actor. The longest time.
They could kind of go a full Mandalorian route there, where Paulo or Pedro Pascal does some of the body work for this for the suit, but does a lot of it in After Effects.
Mhm.
They could have easily
Yeah.
done that, had someone who fits the physique in the suit and then have him overdub the lines essentially. But either
If
way,
Nathan Drake wore a mask, he could get Nolan North to voice him.
there you go. If he was a little older, and maybe it would have worked out better.
Yeah.
So one other weird thing, they're doing a Blue's Clues into the Spider-Verse type of thing.
Yeah, it's so weird.
A
Mm.
Blues Clues.
I was on
movie.
what?
I just
What?
need that at face
Featuring-
value right now.
Yeah, I just saw this. I missed this in the initial slew of announcements, but they're basically doing into the Blues Clues verse.
So we get
called
Bald
Blues Big
Steve or
City
whatever
Adventure.
his name is.
All three of I first of all, I didn't realize there was 3 people who hosted that show. That was just 2.
I only knew 2, yeah.
I knew there's
But,
one that got bald. And he was
Chris,
like, I
we're the
believe.
same person sometimes. Yeah, I remember the first guy and this current guy. Who's the middle guy? I
Well,
understand.
my kids don't watch it first of all, and I
Oh.
was too old to watch it when it came out, so I just kind of knew of it through osmosis.
Like
yeah,
I
no,
totally
they're all 3 of
followed the
them.
old guy on Twitter, and I did not or not Twitter, TikTok. I'm in love with him, and he makes me feel warm and fuzzy, and it's great. And I didn't watch Blue's Clues when he was on it, but he makes me feel happy, like Mr. Rogers.
I never watched Blue Clues, period, because
You're 100.
that is correct.
Yeah, I like it. I'm actually looking at you this time. Okay. Anywho,
How do we feel about a new Transformers trilogy?
I don't care
stop.
when that.
Isn't it also like kind of tying into like Beast Wars?
Yeah, it is. It's something related to the Beast Wars thing.
Beast.
It's also set between
Beasties, as
Bumblebee
we called
and
it
the
in the
other
Great White
trilogy.
North.
No,
Okay.
it's yeah, I don't know. I stopped caring about them a long time ago. Oh, thanks for subscribing, Matt's DFA.
Who's
Yeah,
that?
that's Matt. Hi, Matt.
Ooh.
Did you subscribe? Why don't I see these things? Oh, you guys are there. Thanks for the sub.
What?
Here,
Yeah, I just
take business money. Thanks, Matt.
Transformers lost me like a long time ago. I never really cared for those movies, but
I mean, as soon as Devastator had giant balls, I'm like, I'm good.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh,
the
wow.
first
I think I
one was
missed
really
that.
bad too. Like, I feel like we were all
It
pretty.
was bad, but it wasn't overtly racist. It was just sexist.
If that's the bar, I guess. Like,
The second one was overtly racist
Oh, yeah,
and
no, it was bad.
sexist.
it was bad.
Then
I
the
don't know why
third
they got-
one was everything.
They got poor Tom Kenny to do
Great.
that stupid voice too. I feel so bad for him.
Oh god, it was so racist. Just
Oh, it was so bad.
racist.
I know. And I feel like we were all very generous even to the first one. I remember, like, not
No.
to say that like there wasn't like a genuine like moment, because I remember seeing it in the theater, and like the very first fight that happens, like 2 hours and 45 minutes into a 3-hour movie, when Optimus fights who was it?
Megatron, Starscream.
No, not Megatron.
Batman.
Yes,
The cop?
exactly. No, the big truck. The big I know that narrows it down. The big like boulder truck. Why does my music keep turning on?
Jordan's
and then-
fired today, guys.
and when he stabbed him with the sword, I remember like everyone was in the theater like cheering, like getting up, like yeah, like clapping and stuff. So like there was a very like genuine moment of like,
No.
well, that's what I mean. It was like this really nice moment of like film goer, like appreciation.
Naivete.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No. Just like it's like moments, right, where like something good happens in a movie and everyone's like cheering for it. Like you don't get
Honestly,
those so often.
Honestly, those movies to me looked like a giant mess of just CGI vomit.
Oh, they're garbage.
Like all of them, or the
Yeah.
original ones?
Every single one. They all look like
Yes.
there's CGI on the screen. They
Why
all.
did so nice today?
I would say the same thing about those movies. Like I saw the first one in theaters, and like my friends all walked out and everyone's raving about it. I'm like, I couldn't tell who was fighting who. It was just,
Yeah.
It
was just
I
giant
will,
it's just garbage. Like just garbage CGI all over the screen, and like
I
big
will
explosion.
And I
say,
can't even
go
say
back.
it's because Chris was old and jaded back then.
No, I
I
was
can't
young
do
then.
that. He's younger than me.
I was a young man then.
Yeah.
to the credit of the special effects artists who worked
Okay.
very hard on that movie, the actual like little like minutia of how the transforming actually happened and like every little moving part, what at the time was genuinely incredible. Like when you actually kind of go back and watch it and see like just how much like detail they put into like every little part shifting together, it's kind
Yeah, I
of
can
incredible.
say
So
that.
like,
Absolutely.
but it is a bit messy.
Yeah.
Not
When watching two of them fight is like watching a car crash.
It looks like a car. Yeah,
It
It
that,
looks
he's
like
not-
a car
Yeah.
crash. You
Nobody?
get them so mashed together you can't tell what's what.
yeah.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think David is exactly on the money.
I just
with-
thought that was a funny joke. No, all right.
It's also a
think
good pun.
Was he
Very
serious?
accurate.
Yeah,
Or we-
thank you.
I
Yeah,
believed
it's
him. But no, those movies really felt like a giant pile of metal hitting another pile of metal, and
Yeah.
that is exactly how it looked on the screen. And I
Yeah,
mean,
it was the very design of the Transformers too. Like, because
Yeah.
like why I couldn't tell who was fighting who was because it was all just metal. Like the
Yeah.
Transformers in the cartoons have much brighter designs than what they actually used in the movies.
because they're designed for kids and bright colors. I want the red one. I want the blue one. Whereas these ones are all
Yeah.
the silver gray ones. Like,
Hey,
other than
just-
Optimus,
just
which
Try
For us
had-
to
older
make
folk,
better.
I want me some silver gray.
I mean, to be
What's
fair,
up,
Optimus
Brian?
had
Engine block.
yeah.
It is probably a lot of the reason too why like the Bumblebee movie worked a
Mhm.
lot better than any of the other ones, because like A, it was a more focused movie, and B, like all the designs for the Transformers did lean more towards like the sort of campier 80s design. So like there was a lot more color. The characters were actually more distinct. You know, like Bumblebee himself actually kind of looked more the way he looked in the show.
He was still a Camaro, wasn't he?
Kind of.
I mean, he was still a Camaro. He wasn't a Bumblebee.
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
No, I think
in
Bumblebee
Transformers for a while.
Yeah, they changed it back to
Very
like the more like bug-ish design.
Now we gotta,
Well, and
look
if Transformers isn't your speed, they're also working on new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
which is actually being worked on by Seth Rogen, which I find is actually not so unappealing. I actually kind of like that idea.
Yeah, that sounds interesting to me.
I think Seth Rogen's hit or miss recently. I like some of his stuff, and then some of his stuff he just will not back down of being bad.
Yeah, it's true. Like, he had a pretty heavy hand in the Green Hornet movie too, right? Like
I liked that. I didn't hate that movie. It wasn't good, but I liked it.
What movie are we talking about?
The Green Hornet.
I also heard that the American Pickle show is like really good, and doesn't he like?
It's a movie. And that's legit good.
Is it a movie? I thought it was a series. Okay,
it's like an hour and 40-minute movie.
Yeah. Okay. No, I got confused.
Santa Inc. is the one he's the most recently done.
Yeah, that. I didn't watch. Oh, we talked about that too, and I never went and watched it. I forgot all about it.
I watched an episode of it, and it's bad.
Oh, okay.
I think
I've been watching him on Pam and Tommy, and that's a sweet mullet, and that's all I've got to say about.
It does. I'm imagining he pulls that off.
I gotta go back to it. I've slowed down.
I would say that he when he does something he generally cares about, like when he tries, he is like actually like a talented writer and and an actor. But like he does a lot of times often like slip back into that like like stupid idiot persona. Even seeing that dumb trailer for Chip and Dale, and he's doing this like exact same thing where he does that like goofball laugh that he does, like
that happened,
and that looks really good. I'm like actually really on board for it.
I'm not.
One of them is CG, the other one
say something positive, Brendan.
So good.
Bumblebee looked okay.
Bumblebee looked okay, and apparently he was a Camaro, not a VW.
No, he's VW in the new movie.
In the new
movie. In Bumblebee, he is.
Yeah. Then he turns into a Camaro after he loses his voice, and then it bleeds into the first movie, even though time.
They can change? Okay.
Yeah.
Nope, we're not going back. Forward. Onward. Oh, my hand. Okay. It's fine.
So yeah, Paramount is really trying to throw a lot of licensing at the wall and hope something sticks. I don't know. Does it even have Paramount Plus?
No, I don't think it's in Canada.
No, but what I do see on this list is that none of you men announced. Yeah, I said it. Is Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies. What is that?
Grease is so horrible. It does not hold up.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, Dana, also, you're gonna come at us with this.
Already existed.
I'm just saying nobody wanted to talk about it. And it is on this list.
The people who are in it don't want to talk about it.
You're gonna sit there and stand for the movie where there's a line in a song that goes, "Did she put up a fight? Really, Dana? You're gonna come at me with that business."
Jordan, did you hear that all I said was that nobody brought it up? I didn't say you had to like it.
Brought it
yeah,
up.
none of you men brought up the Rise of the Pink Ladies.
Because we're progressive men, and we know that the Grease is a sort of a toxic, gross movie from the past, and it doesn't.
So maybe we should talk about that.
It's not.
Talk about that?
To be fair, Jordan.
Yes.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be poking fun at the Grease culture of the 50s as a toxic environment, which actually didn't allow people to be themselves.
Was it though? It came out in the 70s. I don't know if that's true.
But it's aping the 50s culture.
I don't know
was in itself was toxic, and the movie is, and everyone in the movie acknowledges it's toxic.
All I wanted to do was say that Rise of the Pink Ladies sounds like Rise of the. I don't know.
To be fair,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Wasn't much better than the 50s.
Yeah,
exactly. Look, we are making people uncomfortable. Thank you, Jordan.
I mean, Jordan's talking about being progressive, but this slate is anything but progressive. It's all like old licenses, and they're bringing back a bunch of reality competition series stars for one big reality show called All Star Shore.
Yeah.
No, stop it.
But Dora the Explorer, a live-action series. Let's go.
Well, look at a live-action movie.
That's cool.
Okay.
It did get a live-action.
Yeah, didn't it? Yeah, I heard it wasn't.
Chris Carter liked it, I think.
Chris Carter liked it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Chris Carter liked it. That's usually
it was better than Uncharted.
That is good sign.
I mean,
you haven't seen Uncharted yet.
Uncharted.
Yeah.
To be fair, you haven't seen Uncharted yet, so
that's why I changed. I said it did better than Uncharted.
Yeah, Uncharted.
I mean,
Uncharted is some rough words.
Before Jordan pedals off his chair, let's move on to the next topic tonight. which is actually something that you wrote about this one, Jordan. That Bioshock is getting a Netflix film adaptation.
Yes.
Finally / again.
And that's all we know. Yeah, no.
But Brandon, there was some history behind this one.
Yeah, I mean, this one was pretty big because it was originally announced when the first game in the 360 era.
2006, I think.
Yeah, no, it was after that. The original game came out with the Xbox 360, and then about 3 years after that, they announced that there would be a movie in the works, and T2K had said there was going to be like Neil Blomkamp was associated with it at one point. But then it kind of then at some point someone said it would be too expensive to have an R rating.
Yeah.
I really hate when they hold back with the R rating.
And then they're like, well, we can't do the movie without an R rating, so we're just going to scrap it. And then it just kind of sat in development hell forever.
Like Duke Nukem.
Yeah. That's okay. That can
be all that turned out.
I think, was it Gore? Yeah, Gore Verbinski was also attached to it at one point.
Yeah, there was a lot of people attached to the Bioshock movie, and then they just kind of like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's too bad because Neil Blomkamp would have been fantastic for that.
He was also the one associated with Halo at one point, and then that got scrapped too.
Which kind of shows how far back these rumors go, because he was really hot at that time thanks to District 9.
And then he did District 9, then he did Chappie, then Elysium, and then it was like, we don't need more Neil Blomkamp. That's good.
Yeah.
District 10's in the works, isn't it? Yeah, I'm excited for that one to happen.
His movies just kind of felt like, I like some of his stuff, but he goes too much of the things he does.
It's a mixed bag.
It's kind of that.
He is the essence of a mixed bag.
It's kind of that Shyamalan situation, right? Like everyone loved the first movie, or like the first movie did really well, broke a lot of ground, and then how do you live up to your own expectations at that point?
Or you have Josh Trank, which Chronicle. Then he did that Fantastic Four movie, and then he was also associated with he was going to do one of the Marvel movies, and they're like, then Fantastic Four came out. And they're like, what if? No. Well, he was associated with a Star Wars movie. He was going to do a Star Wars movie.
The Boba Fett one, yeah.
Yes, and then Fantastic Four came out, and they're like, maybe we're just not going to do that.
No one wants to see Boba Fett in a bunker being angsty for an hour and a half.
I know you said it right, but I heard Boba Fett, and I'm never going to unhear that.
I mean, the Josh Trank one would have been kind of a Boba Fett.
He would be a Boba Fett?
Yeah, that would be Boba Fett.
Hubba Bubba.
To be fair, armor he wears his camo.
Watch his Duck Dynasty for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Oh no.
To be fair, the first half of that Fantastic Four movie was pretty good until the studio obviously stepped in and made him veer really hard to the right, and then he just kind of went down with that ship.
Now, are we talking about the Miles Teller Fantastic Four or the Chris Evans Fantastic Four?
Well, that was No, we're talking about the
Rooney Mara Fantastic Four. Was Rooney Mara in that?
Different era.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel there are too many Fantastic Fours. See, this is the problem. We shouldn't have to talk for 45 minutes to figure out which one we're all on board with. There are too many movies, guys.
Yeah.
Wait, do you mean this one or this one or this one? We've done that with everything we've talked about so far.
Please cancel 5 movies. There are too many movies.
I'm just going to throw it out there.
No, you're not.
I'm just throw it out there.
Then
Chris Evans.
Yeah. Has been in every universe.
No.
All of them. I'm cold and I want a blankie.
He is in 2 different Marvel characters that Disney now owns both of them.
I get it. And
I would love to see that movie where he shows up as both characters.
Yes, I want that. I want it to be those Fantastic Four people in the modern MCU, and just be weird. Just be weird. Have Galactus the Cloud.
It will 100% be Dana's Spider-Man meme scene. Like, oh, you.
Yeah. To Dana's point, there is only one Fantastic Four movie, and that is Rise of the Silver Surfer. It's great. I don't care what anyone says. It's like it's Snakes on a Plane level. Like it's so bad it loops around and becomes good again.
Snakes on a Plane level.
No, it is. It's.
We need to come up with a bad movie rating system. Like
Snakes on a Plane. That's it.
Speaking
on
of
a scale from The
Room,
Room,
actors who are in what, David?
2 different characters in Marvel universes that Marvel both owns. Michael B. Jordan was in that Fantastic Four movie.
That's true. Yeah,
that's so weird.
Was he?
Yeah, he played the Flash. He played Chris Evans.
Oh, that's really weird.
I do think he played Chris Evans. Not what's his name? The what?
The Human Torch.
The Human Torch.
No, he plays Chris Evans.
Yeah, he plays Chris Evans playing the Human Torch. That's what I strive to do in my life.
He's so good. He would kill that role. But anyways,
I kind of forgot too.
Bioshock. Oh yeah, Bioshock.
That's
Yeah,
why we started all this.
we kind of
Yeah,
knew this was where this was gonna go.
No, we're in the
Yes.
woods on that one.
I was Wii when Bioshock was popular, and I'm not Wii anymore. That's all I've got.
I think Bioshock was an interesting concept that has seen its day, and the game did it fine.
I don't know.
I don't want to watch the weird little creepy kids.
Because
what do you think they could do? Like, the problem with gaming now is games look good. A photorealistic game is going to be more fun to play than it is going to be watch.
Well, this is the thing about like Bioshock that has a lot of room for exploration is like just a lot of like the sort of like Ayn Randian themes that it was kind of running with, and also kind of like taking the piss out of a little bit. And so like I think there's a lot of like room to explore that. If they just try to like kind of go in the direction where it's just like, hey, this was a first person shooter with some cool ideas, like let's make an action movie, that's probably going to ruin it. Like, you do
realize that's what they're going to do though, Jordan, right?
I really hope that's not the case, because it does, like, this is what I mean, like Bioshock, the lore of Bioshock and the setting and everything that goes like alongside the the shooty bang bang makes it like so much more interesting that you could actually like do a very interesting or a very like unique kind of story behind it. It doesn't have to just be a sort
I definitely think you could, if you just had it Bioshock like before the fall type thing, where you had like even if you just told the story from the game and just had it more of like exploring the people's past, maybe some flashbacks, something to kind of draw you into that world, that could be really interesting. If you just have it, I'm in an empty city, oh, there's a dude telling me to do something on the radio, that wouldn't be fun to watch.
Well, that's why I
looting every
eating
garbage. Fallout won't ever be a movie.
Yeah,
it's like because you loot for 12 hours.
You would loot for 12 hours.
Like if they take it in more of like to what you're saying, Brendan, like if they kind of like show like the construction of Rapture, like people living in it, and then once it actually falls apart, going less in an action direction and maybe more in like a horror direction, that would be a lot better structured.
Like I couldn't play Bioshock. It gave me the heebie-jeebies.
I mean, I remember people saying to me that it was a really scary game, but then I was shooting bees out of my hand, and I was kind of like, "When does the
there's a lot of body horror? There's a lot of body horror there. When you have a honeycomb,
the new power,
in
coming
your
out.
hand.
He's like freaking out about it. Yeah, it is. But then again, you're also like, but then after that's done, I couldn't help but laugh every time. It was just like bees.
And now that's all, like, anytime I see that ever again in my life, I'm gonna hear Jordan going, bees.
Any problem I was ever faced with was just like bees,
At least the hounds
and fire.
Or the hounds with bees in their mouths when they bark and shoot bees at you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true horror.
It genuinely upset me in Bioshock Infinite when they replaced the like bee power with like crows, and I was like, I don't want to shoot crows out of my hands. It's stupid. I want bees.
I mean,
there's so much like hand action. I feel Jordan has.
But I think there is something you can explore in Bioshock as long as you take it
absolutely
either seriously or go bonkers. You have to one of the two. You can't just be like, let's just recreate the scenes from the game, because the game visually, if you're not playing it, wouldn't be fun. Like, I have to walk this empty hallway and find a wrench. No one wants to watch that.
No, and that's like with even sort of like 2, not so much. Although I have a soft spot for 2.
I think you merge 1 and 2 together into one game. You could do one movie. You could do something with it.
Yeah, but not even in terms of like movie making. I just mean like the games themselves. Like 1 and Infinite, like despite all the action sequences, like both of those games have just like such incredible stories behind them, and the way that they like tell their story is so great. Because again, like the whole like moral choice system is kind of a big part of Bioshock, and Infinite like really threw that out the window in a very subversive way. So I don't know how you sort of capture that in a movie, but I still think it could be good. I'm hoping.
We'll see. I mean, like of all the things that have been pitched as movies based on video games, like this, I don't hate this one on site.
And
like there's
and like I said,
we've been saying.
Like I said in my article too, like Netflix, I think right now has such a good track record with like
no, they don't.
Let him finish his thought. Go ahead, Jordan. I got you.
How many properties are there on Netflix right now that are based on video games that are actually genuinely good?
Okay, Dragon's Dogma is real bad.
Okay, but we're
I
talking
haven't
about the
watched
good
it.
ones
I heard
right
it
now.
was okay. I heard it was okay.
They made a Dragon's Dogma one.
Oh yeah,
But
it's
Dragon's
really
Dogma
bad.
as a game is really weird too.
Well,
But,
it was-
like,
yeah,
it's-
source material is the thing.
Just watch it. Just go watch it.
Just go
I heard
watch.
okay. I heard it was okay. I know some people were like, "That's the Dragon Dogma," but again, Dragon Dogma is such a like the scope of the game too is kind of like how do you adapt that to an anime? But because
Well, they have Castlevania,
well,
That was good.
Castlevania, I think Castlevania is really good.
and that's
And
about
probably
the end of
easier
the
to
list,
work
right?
with. Yeah.
I kind of wish Silent Hill could have been a TV show.
That
That'd
would
be
have been a
very
good one.
With Kit Harington.
If,
on
if
it?
you get the right like creative people involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met
The
Harrington.
Not
I
Sean
know
Bean.
you met Kit.
I
No,
saw a bit of a
he'd only
spotlight.
be on it for like 2 minutes.
Okay,
I
no,
saw
he
a
got
bit of a.
critic rating gave it an 83 for Dragon's Dogma. Audience scores are 44.
There you go. I don't listen to audience's scores. Audiences are fickle.
Yeah, has anybody ever
Especially
listened to
when it comes
Jordan?
video game preference.
I trust the critics.
You go. The only 6 critics reviewed it.
Well, then I trust all of them.
I trust every last one, except for that one that lowered
I'm
this.
sure they're
score.
all professionals who did their jobs correctly.
Everyone else.
Anyway, yeah, Silent Hill. I only ever played Silent Hill. I think it's 4, The Room.
Yes,
That's a good one.
I
That's a
remember
really
very
good one.
little, but that's like
tearing you apart.
that's it for the
Right,
horror
right.
games. I played that horror game.
Chris.
No, I used to play Fatal Frame,
Mm.
and then I told you guys about Red Dead when there were zombies, and then I threw
Yeah.
my controller.
I like that one. Undead Nightmare.
Not
Yeah,
allowed.
That's a, yeah,
Not
that's a
allowed
fun
to
one.
play the scary movies.
It's fair.
I
games.
do genuinely still have a soft spot for the first Silent Hill movie. I don't know. I think it's kind of like schlocky.
I think
good.
I think the first one's okay. The second one is just
so bad,
mesmerizingly bad.
so bad. Oof.
So weird.
Yeah,
almost
and
hypnotic.
even the first one doesn't seem to understand what Silent Hill is because it borrows too much of the iconography from Silent Hill 2, the game, and that stuff only works in the context of 2 and the story 2 was telling.
Yes,
I don't know.
Well, that's
I
why I,
don't
think
quite
two
understand
would've
why-
been a really good TV show.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
2
2 would have been an
TV show.
amazing TV show.
A little more time to breathe too.
Yeah, I think this movie is a little too tight for that kind of
Too
storyline.
much to cram into.
See,
it.
I wonder if I'm in my 30s now. I feel that things should not scare me so much. I should be able to jump into these games. But if anybody watched Horizon earlier today, somebody literally commented, "Jumpy much?" And I feel that that was not the goal of that game. So maybe I
Probably
should
not.
not jump into her.
There's a
Well,
lot.
Silent Hill is still available on the PlayStation 3 PS1 Classics section of the store.
Oh, is it
so
really?
if you wanna
How
check
much
it
is
out.
And
that?
PS Now too.
$1, Bob.
$6. It's $6, I think,
I
usually.
mean, to be fair, the
for
remaster is
PS1
pretty
games.
bad. Oh, it's PS1. Okay, not the
It's
remake.
PS1 Classics, yeah.
No, no,
It's
because
like the straight original.
didn't they fix the remasters though after everyone complained about how bad they were? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Like,
also a
motion-
podcast.
Yeah.
They made it so it is less bad, but they still were missing. They were straight up missing assets, and Konami's like, I
Yeah.
don't know, make it happen.
And
And
wasn't
Totally fine.
I thought I heard a lot of the music too was really bad. Like they tried
well,
to
because they didn't have the
do,
master tracks,
new-
they only had the compressed
Yeah.
tracks. So that's fine. Just go
so
with
it's
that.
really bad.
Sure you did. Sure you
They
did.
closed the studio.
I'm still pulling for Dana to play Phasmophobia with me.
We'll do it. Can it be
I really
during
want
the
you to.
daylight hours though? Well, no, I've got
Actually,
you.
Martha isn't dead.
Hi,
Can I
Nick.
break
Martha's
it?
dead. Martha's dead.
Fine.
I honestly considered taking that game on because nobody else was, and I know it's kind of controversial, and I want to mess with it. But I feel that I probably shouldn't review that. I can maybe take it on and be like, horror game that for a girl that does not horror, and
That's
then
fair.
you can just
0 out
watch
of
me
10,
cry.
literally unplayable. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just watch me cry for
Too
an hour.
scary.
Could
It's
be the
fine.
press start game.
Wanted Mama.
Title screen too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying
Yeah.
to bring up the e-stores to make our segue to the next topic.
That was
but,
pretty good.
Smooth.
That happened.
We
Really good,
detoured again.
thanks.
I tried. Nintendo closing down their Wii U and 3DS eShops this year. I know Jordan's got some feelings on this one because I know I do. But yeah, I just wanted to start with their
Let's just,
announcement was super misleading
quick.
because they said
we're just gonna do this.
we're
There you
tinkering
go.
with-
Hold on.
Oh,
No, you're
geez.
good. I'm just gonna. There you go. You guys go
Why,
ahead.
why you gotta put me on blast like that?
Because I know who has feelings.
Big feels. Yeah, so their announcement said, oh, we're closing the store down in March 2023. But what they don't put in the headline is that they're pulling all the payment methods long before that. So you actually have
let's go with the
until
liars.
May to actually add credit card funds to your wallet, and August to use gift cards.
So you have to like panic, spend a bunch of money, like panic fill your thing.
Essentially, yeah.
And I feel like people are going to do that too. They're going to be like, "Oh my god, what do I do?" And then just take all my money and then
the fear of missing out.
Chris made a spreadsheet.
I was about to say I may have spent some time yesterday making a spreadsheet to prioritize how much I need to throw at them before the next 4 months.
I kind of did the same thing, but like not to a degree, because like back in the summer when I was like initially read that Nintendo was going to shut down the eShop, I just like quickly went into the eShop and like favorited all the games that I wanted to buy, so I would like know when to get them. So I've just sort of been like sitting on doing that. But like, yeah, it's a bummer. Like I get it. It's like the 3DS and the Wii U. Like, why keep those, like servers active?
Well, because the 3DS was selling till like last year, and there's still like hundreds of millions of people with 3DSs that still play them.
No, listen, Brendan, you're not gonna convince me. But like, it's like I to the extent that it's like I get it, because it's like they're trying to move on. It's like the Switch is the dominant console, and we want you to spend your money here. Like, even though they're getting money from it, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just like, it's just annoying, because again, this is like that whole thing about like how bad Nintendo is at like allowing access to like the chronology of video games. So it's like
video game preservation is very hard on Nintendo systems, because when they shut down these platforms, like look at it compared to Sega. Sega still had the Dreamcast. What was that RPG? Like MMORPG? No, MMORPG.
Phantasy Star.
Fantasy Star.
Yeah, Phantasy Star's servers were online like 5 years after the Dreamcast was completely killed.
Yeah.
So
they wanted, they knew that people wanted.
So I mean, like, compare that to Nintendo, where they're like, yeah, the thing we just stopped selling it. Yeah, definitely the server, they have to go down now. They're done.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I understand, like, if you're not going to like add stuff to the thing anymore, fine. But it's just like, why remove the option to like let people buy these games? It's not like they're gonna, unless they genuinely are planning on releasing the Game Boy online service to the Switch. Like, if once this thing goes down, it's like, okay, you can't get like, there's such a wide catalog of really good Game Boy games out like on the 3DS. You can't get anymore.
Yeah, I'm thinking though, in theory, it sounds like, why would you take away the thing where people can just give you money? Just leave it. What does it affect? But you have to think about it from the other side, that they have to keep people working on that and monitoring that and taking care of that.
Well, I mean,
it's like, I get in theory, don't close down an option for me to spend my money, but at the same time, they've got to pay people to make sure that they can take our money.
Well, they could just put in legacy mode. It's like in maintenance. They have one guy check it, like, yep, servers are fine. It's basically a website that leads you to a link. So leaving a website just kind of existing, it costs a bit of server money, but they've made that money back already. So it would cost them like a few grand a month. Who cares?
Yeah, no, exactly. One thing that was kind of thrown around because of this was that, Xbox will let you buy Xbox, like first gen Xbox games on their store, or like 360 games. Well, yeah, but that's kind of Xbox's whole MO, is just throwing everything at people.
Yeah,
like that fits their MO. Whereas Nintendo has drawn some lines in the sand between generations. It doesn't really.
You people old now. That's what we're getting.
But more importantly, the 3DS only just recently stopped being made. You could probably still go to the store and buy a 3DS right now.
So the fact that you can Walmart today.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So the fact you can buy a thing that Nintendo's like, nah, that's good for like another year. Then we're just not going to let you do anything new on it. That's a problem. Does that also include the update service as well? Because there's a lot of people that might buy a first gen 3DS that can't update it to the latest firmware.
See, normally when these things go down, you can still download things that you've purchased. But I don't.
Sounds like they're taking
I assume you'd still need to have that up for a while longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Actually, it speaks to the whole, like, my whole argument with digital, like, games. It's like you don't own them forever. Like you, like sure, you have them on your account and you can re-download them as long as you have access to your account, so long as those files are on their servers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel that way about a lot of things, though. I feel that way about like photos, videos. Yes, you can take them, you can put them somewhere, but you can lose them, and that's rough. Like what happens when Fortnite dies? What about all the money we spent on skins, pixels?
Yeah. Done.
God, this got so depressing. Like I'm genuinely, I feel like we just talked about a war.
So that all the money that you gave to Epic, it scatters and gold bars drop out, and all your loot just drops. People to pick up. Yeah.
It almost is an end of an era.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, and that's it's kind of the weird thing too about the Wii U, because I don't know why Nintendo did it this way, but like you can only download Game Boy Advance games in the Virtual Console on the Wii U. They didn't make them available on the 3DS, which makes no sense to me.
Which is really weird because they did the whole ambassador program thing with the first generation of the systems. Yes, like I've got Game Boy Advance games on my 3DS. Yeah, I assume you got them too. But like they never allowed to make that accessible to everybody else. But they also added Game Gear. Like Game Gear games can be bought on the 3DS. And which don't look good.
And Master System games, it's oof. But that's what I mean. It's like there's a long history of games there. And I was reading something that was like I think it was like a statement from the ESA or some thing that basically said like Nintendo actively works to like keep their games out of like libraries and like sort of like out of that like sort of digital registry. So it's kind of like it's a really bizarre move that they're sort of like, you know, disconnecting this connection that they had to like let people have access to the history of games, but they're also not like working to make them available in other avenues, right? Like,
I mean, if you look at it this way, like there were a lot of people that were working on ways to have like third-party storefronts or ways to back up the games you've had on 3DS, and Nintendo put a lot of work into suing people and putting lawsuits against people that ran these third-party storefronts. So now they're gone.
Emulation.
There's literally nothing else you can use to download your games again. And same thing for the Wii U and the Wii. They really did try to stop any sort of preservation or emulation or anything that would allow you to get games that do exist on the storefront that they've stopped selling.
Which would almost suggest that they're trying to protect like their ways of monetizing those games, but they're also like are they going to do something with the Switch like at E3 and say, hey, we're bringing all these games to Switch Online? Like here's. But
I wouldn't want to play anything from the 3DS on the Switch. The dual screen made that system unique.
I'm talking more about like the virtual console,
the Game Boy stuff.
Like the virtual console on both systems was very robust. Like there's DS and Game Boy Advance stuff on Wii U and like all the other systems on 3DS. Like if they could bring that virtual console, which is one of the best strengths of those two platforms, to Switch, like obviously the dual screen stuff is not ideal for a single screen thing.
If they could just figure out how to but that could just be a whole other part of their strategy, is bringing like remaking 3DS games to work on the Switch. But to Chris's point, like that was one of the biggest tragedies that I always thought of, like when they shut down the Wii Virtual Console, because that thing was incredible. Like, but the selection of Nintendo games, the TurboGrafx games, like the originals they had, they were putting NES games on there that like they would never put. Like I remember, I have the first really bad Ninja Turtles game that they just put on the Virtual Console for whatever reason. Like it's just there. Like they'll never put that on the
side-scrolling one,
the one that the Angry Video Game Nerd talked about.
Yeah,
that doesn't narrow it down. They can probably talk about all of them at some point, right?
No, just that one.
The infamous one.
Just that one.
Okay, yeah, I had that one.
Yeah, we all had it. It was terrible, but we loved it. Yeah, so that's
I almost forgot my copy actually.
They they would never put that on the Nintendo Switch Online thing. Like, so it's TurboGrafx too. Like, they're never gonna release a TurboGrafx 16 like selection. It's
well, you're gonna look real dumb when at E3 they TurboGrafx Classic.
A lot of egg on my face.
I'm gonna take a note of this one. Rub this one in.
They're not gonna put a Splatterhouse on there. Give me a break.
The best-selling game of 2022 is the TurboGrafx Collection for Switch.
Oh my!
There you go.
Weird.
Yeah. Just write Game of the Year now. That's it.
Yeah.
So sad news for game preservation,
Game
but hopefully,
yes.
If that, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so sad end of an era there. Hopefully they come up with something to replace it, but I guess time will tell.
Mhm.
4DS.
4DS, 4 dimensions.
Yeah.
It just
Punch you in
shakes
the face.
violently. Yeah.
It's got a little like water tank on it. You jump into some water, it squirts you.
Weren't they working on smell technology at some point?
Oh.
Someone
I
was.
don't know.
I don't want that.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
that's
know.
the worst.
Like
That's
it.
the worst sense.
I feel
To,
like-
well, no, that's not true.
The smellus. You don't want to get the smelloscope. in
Well,
your
they had
face?
at CES they had a TV you could lick and you could taste.
I'm not gonna lick my television.
No, Brendan, that was just
I mean, I
like 7
probably
other
would.
people who licked it, and you licked it last, and you were tasting everything they tasted.
That was
No,
your losing
apparently-
bet, yeah.
Apparently, there's a tech that like it tricks your sense of taste
I don't like
just to see what's on the screen.
I really
I
hate
feel like
Yeah.
that would
yeah.
become a
And
new
Chris,
insult.
I know
You're
what
not
you
a
said,
window
the
licker,
sense-
you're a TV licker.
Yeah, the
don't
sense
do
of
this.
taste you're saying
Can
is the
you
worst,
imagine?
but I'm thinking about the kind of games that I play
Oh, I don't want to.
and how much I don't want to smell them. Like even
true.
oh
Oh
god,
my god,
take your
yeah, they
pick.
probably all smell like garbage. Absolutely.
Like
So I don't
all
know.
of them are in like medieval
Any-
times.
Any
so
zombie
that's
game,
what's
you gotta think about how
screwed.
bad that's gonna smell.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
blood
Yeah,
and
there's
think
flesh
about how
everywhere.
much worse it would taste, though.
even well,
I don't want either one.
Yeah, no, but let's leave it. at
but
those dimensions.
you're going to smell everything around you at any given time, whereas the tasting is like a select you're choosing to taste.
Yeah,
right?
but the smell functions as your way of like warning your body, or your body. That's your body warning you not to taste that thing.
like
Have you
even
ever
Stardew,
had-
it would smell like fertilizer all the time. I'm
Have
so
you ever had a
happy.
smell so bad that you can taste it though?
Yes, that's true.
See?
I don't like any of these
Tastes
But
things.
like
that's not
desolation.
permanent. That's like that's an on and off situation. No, I don't like this.
We're
I don't
getting
like
really-
this idea.
We're
Scrap
getting
it.
really metaphysical here.
Scrap this idea.
Yeah.
Speaking of
moving
bad
on.
ideas, Cyberpunk has finally launched its next gen update, but
Yeah.
for some reason they chose to
Finally.
wait until the busiest fortnight in like the first quarter of the year to release it.
Yeah.
They said
Yeah, why
Horizon's
not?
coming
Now-
out and Elden Ring. Let's drop our update now.
Okay.
Yeah,
you
I
confused
mean,
me
they have
for
to
a
do
second.
something or no one cares.
Oh god.
When you
Well-
said the busiest fortnight, I thought you meant like the busiest like fortnight.
Fortnite's doing things too, I
Fortnite, yeah.
guess.
As I was
Yeah.
saying it, I was gonna say no. I just lost Jordan, didn't I? Yeah.
This is gonna confuse everybody.
Fortnite.
Well, David, I know you downloaded it. Did you play it at all? Did you turn
I
it on
haven't had a
yet?
chance yet. No.
And Brendan, you didn't either, right?
I
No.
downloaded
Okay.
it as well. Yeah. So I bought the disc
like
version
70
at the source
gigs.
for $10 like 3 months ago, thinking I was so clever. Now that I've upgraded and I have the disc in the system, the freaking PS4 icon keeps popping up. So I have to
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
deleting the PS4.
I
game
did
tab
see
on
you
my
complaining
PS5,
about that
yeah.
on the interwebs.
It's there on mine as well.
Like
Wait,
Sony
Brendan.
and or Cyberpunk, do something about this, please. It's so annoying.
Only 70 gigs? That seems small. Like
As an update.
It's
oh,
smaller
as an
than it was.
update. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Look how big Jordan's eyes got, everyone.
Wow,
That
okay, no,
changed
because I was-
everything.
I was like, okay, wait, like, because like Spider-Man, the game is like a 60 gig game. I was like, that can't be
Yeah, no,
right.
it's
It's
whatever
an
the original
update.
install is plus 60 gigs.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Oh,
Is it
Horizon
the
Forbidden West is 84, I think, or 85 gigs.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So no one could
There's some
confirm if
fact.
it's playable or not now. Like,
I mean,
it's-
I think I turned it on
yes.
and it turned on.
It turned
And
on.
it didn't
That's not
crash,
quite what he
so
means.
Step in the
The
right
Xbox is
direction.
not on fire.
Put
We're
that in the
good.
tagline. It
PlayStation, I don't
turns
know.
on.
But it does.
I
So
did say it was a busy
fair.
time to release this
Fair.
game. To be fair, that's what
Yeah.
I was
But
trying
to be honest, I think what they've done is they've basically made it so they've increased the crowd sizes. They've made it so there's a little bit. They've cleaned up some of the old code. So like there was perks for like swimming, but you physically couldn't swim in the game. So they got
Carol's
rid of
the developer
those.
in the game.
Yeah.
So you no longer get like the swimming perk because when you touch water you die anyway. So just get rid of that. They made some new perks, new skills. They kind of revamped some things. They revamped some like the character creation stuff. They made it look pretty.
When was the
But
last
they-
time a game had its main character water soluble?
I don't know. Well,
Grand
Grand
Theft
Theft Auto's
Auto.
not great at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed
and
1.
even they got rid of that stuff like
Yeah. Eventually.
after the first game.
They didn't improve much, but
No.
they improved that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it seems like an interesting move. I think they needed to do this, but it still seems like it's not quite a finished product. It still feels like they got rid of stuff.
Well, okay,
hiding
you
the-
haven't played it yet. You've only read stuff online.
I
So
mean, I've
you-
read their patch notes of what they've
Yeah,
increased.
But
Yeah.
see,
So I mean, the fact that they
definitely play
still, yeah, but they haven't
Yeah,
added
just-
back
just
in
to
any of the
confirm.
worlds they didn't finish or any of that stuff. Like they still haven't added in the districts that were supposed to be, where like the in rail car, like in all the early ads it had you in like the subway. That's still not in the game.
Which
So-
which is kind of hilarious now too, that because like just yesterday Hello Games announced that they're like completely revamping combat in No Man's Sky and making it like more
okay.
functional and making it better. Like, just so it's just funny to me that like at the same time that like, you know, that CD Projekt Red's kind of like, hey, we kind of made Cyberpunk marginally more functional. Like Hello Games is kind of like, you know, 5-6 years later, like, oh hey, we're still making this game like really good, and like it's still gonna be like free updates, and they haven't stopped working on it. So like,
and like now it's like at the baseline where it should have been at launch, like at the absolute minimum.
Exactly.
Well, the absolute minimum. I think they're kind of maybe going a little above now. Like,
is there a graphics update now too, or no?
Yeah, the graphics on PS5 and
Yeah.
Xbox
Well,
Series X look much better. On the PS4 and One, it doesn't look great.
PS5 is 4K at 60 frames, isn't it?
Yep.
oh wow.
I mean, that's something.
No, it's solid.
Yes.
I mean, they've done things.
I think
It's
that's
the bare minimum where they should have been at launch. Yeah.
That's
Midwest
It's only
is 4K
took
at
14
60.
months.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for Cyberpunk was they've tried doing that dual console launch where you hit the PS4 and PS5 and Xbox One and Xbox Series X.
But a lot of games have done that.
I know,
have
but
they not?
Cyberpunk really was struggling to hit those frame rates on the new consoles. The old consoles, they admitted we had no idea how to get them to work. So that's why the crowd sizes just kind of vanished at random. So a lot of the bugs everyone was seeing in Cyberpunk when it launched was things they pushed in there to make it so it physically could work on those systems. Like they're like, yeah, it's designed for this X, it's designed for the Series X, it's designed for the PS5, and it's designed for the PC, and they just kind of forced it due to shareholders and like what the owners are saying, like make it work on those older consoles, and it was never built to do that, and that's why that game looks so broken, because they're like, yeah, I don't know, it just
When
ran
the
out of
game came
RAM
out-
or
When the game came out in November 2020, I
yeah.
played it on the PS5, and I used to read all these things like this game is terrible and this is wrong with it and this is wrong with it and this is wrong with it. I never experienced any of that.
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah.
I
We
always
didn't
played it and
see-
I was like, this game is awesome. What is that
But
I'm
now-
talking about here?
But
Occasionally there were people like stuck in the floor.
Oh sure, yeah, you'd have the odd
That's still a
bug here and
bug.
there, but it was never game breaking in the way that people were
No.
describing.
I think it was
Yeah,
more
like
people. The biggest problems people were having were when it was the older generation, where just the system couldn't do the thing it was just trying to do.
Yeah, PS4 seemed to be like literally unplayable almost.
Yeah.
So having that extra power on the PS5 probably got you through it, I guess. I mean, like I booted it up a few months ago when I bought it like for $10, and I played it like an hour or two of it, and I didn't find really anything too game breaking. Like at one point, the guy who walks you through the early stage of the game walked by some lockers, and they all opened and like were swaying back and forth as he's walking by.
It was a
It's actually
things like that.
It's a horror game now too. Sorry.
Yeah, it's haunted.
Cyber
Yeah.
Ghost.
They've just
Spooky
made it
lockers in a
Now here's my
cyberpunk
question.
game.
That game, I don't know how much it has been. I know it's gone on for $10 for a while. I don't know if that stayed. Now that there's an update out, is it back to like, your $80 game, or are we still paying $10?
No, I think
It's on
like
sale. It's
40.
on sale right now. When I got it for $10, it was like a fluke sale at the Source of all places.
I saw it online a couple times for $10 too, though. So it's not just that. Also, who goes to the Source? Side note.
I only did because I saw someone flagged it that Cyberpunk is $10.
He ran.
Yeah.
So I went to the
Yeah.
store and they're like, "Oh, we didn't even know this was on sale for $10. Like they had it in the back. They didn't like
Yeah.
weren't even showing.
Oh, people
It's
are
going for
like,
about $40. $40 right now.
Yeah.
okay.
It's on sale like half off. Yeah,
Yeah.
down on all platforms. so.
General rule of thumb is like once something gets discounted to a certain like point, it just like stays there.
I mean, not for
Yeah.
$10, but yes.
No, not for $10, but like digitally.
Yeah, I
like,
wasn't sure if they thought they could bring this out and like jack up the game again. I
It
don't-
doesn't seem so. I'm not seeing the Series X or the.
No. Stu would accept
It's
that.
half off across the board, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know.
I just have to wonder if they chose this date out of ignorance of what else is going on in the industry, like the biggest game,
I mean-
like the biggest two games of the quarter out in the next week, or if
They-
that was their intent to kind of sneak it in and be like, yeah, the people who were really interested in it will try it out and be more open to it.
Yeah.
They
So
launched
it's,
the game. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
It's on PlayStation Store right now for PS4 and PS5. It's on sale for $29.99
There you go.
It was
It's
pretty
not,
good.
it's not
with
horrible.
a free
Yeah.
trial as well.
$1,
Yeah, it's a
Bob.
5-hour
Right,
period
yeah,
trial.
$1, Bob. So I'm paying.
But yeah, they launched the game the way that it was. So I don't know if ignorance is completely out of the wheelhouse over at CD Projekt Red, but
Or just
You know.
like deliberate stick-to-itiveness. I guess. No, we're doing this.
yeah, there's that
This is the
side
date
of
we
it. You
picked.
wanna-
It's ready. It ships. It's not
wanna
sitting
make
here
nice
all
of
day
it.
like
They
a
haven't
minute
had
longer than it has to.
They haven't had a firm roadmap for anything in this game.
they've kind of pushed it. A lot of the road, they have had a roadmap. They're like, yeah, we're just going to scrap that, and it's just going to get whatever it's done. I don't know.
It changes.
Honestly, they're probably better off not showing it.
Yeah, the more they show, the more people are going to pick it apart.
Yep.
Which was the whole problem
Gamers
with the
addict.
game to begin with, too, right? Because they said, "Oh, this is going to be in this game, and this is going to be in it," and then they launched it, and it was barely functional on half the platform. So, like, yeah, I would agree with them that silence is probably best.
Yeah.
But then they get
Lessons
accused
to
of
be
not telling
learned,
them
people.
anything.
You know, at least No Man's Sky worked. Like, at bare
That is a
minimum,
goal.
it was playable. Like,
It
No, it didn't have all the promises, but it
was
functioned.
varying degrees of fun, but it was playable at launch.
I mean, it was
Like,
more of like an experience than a game when it launched. Like, just do
absolutely.
things.
This is where we are now.
Like it wasn't
this is-
GTA remastered bad either.
No.
Oh my days.
But this is kind of why I say repeatedly, like No Man's Sky was lightning in a bottle. Like, you cannot release a game in that state and just think, okay, people are going to accept it and we'll patch it down the line. Like, just because it worked for them, that is only ever going to happen once. Like,
I mean, to be fair,
history has shown.
It's happened a
Hello
lot
Games-
since though.
Hello
but
Games
history is-
really Hello Games did
Oh,
a
sorry.
lot, and they had a lot of flack after that. They had about
Oh, no,
6
absolutely.
months of just flack, and then they kind
Absolutely.
of kept releasing updates, and they're still releasing updates even today. And it
The name
wasn't
is
until
still
like they
playing.
hit those updates that it started hitting those sales charts again.
No,
Like,
absolutely.
it was on the top list of Steam for a while because of the updates they've put to it, and that's the lesson that people should take away from Hello Games. Not they can get away with releasing a buggy game, but if they
keep thinking you're gonna
No,
say
but-
Hello Kitty. I'm so sorry. I can't. I hear it every time.
Oh, but
It's my weird.
we can't ignore Hello Kitty either. They
yeah, that's right.
things
My
they're
whole-
up to are just
Hello Kitty movie?
My whole point is that I think that especially after the whole No Man's Sky debacle, like people were genuinely invested in that. So I think maybe they were a little bit more forgiving. But like now, as we've seen, like with any company that sort of puts out a broken game, just like believing that like people will stick with it until the updates happen, that has not happened. Like Anthem fell out hard. A lot of people got I know that like I think Destiny 2 might be one of the only examples, but I think that saw a way bigger like rise in like player base after like Bungie took it over again after from Activision. And
that didn't
made
release
a
broken
functional
either
game.
though. That didn't
No,
release
Bungie just wasn't. Bungie
It
was
was just empty. It was just
wasn't bad. It just didn't have enough to do when it first launched. That's why Destiny 2 kind of fixed that.
And it was very microtransaction. That really turned me off of it.
Again, Activision. So
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so like, but I know that's what I'm saying. Like in terms of like player base, I know a lot of people were like really upset with Destiny 2 after it launched, but then like once Bungie took over, like you saw a massive spike in players because they actually made it a game worth playing.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's just I think like that's the takeaway here is that you cannot do that anymore. Like if you're gonna put out a game and you're gonna hype it as much as you did Cyberpunk, the same way that like Hello hyped No Man's Sky, like it better meet those expectations.
Yeah.
Speaking of launches, we've been talking a lot about Lost Ark because Dana was reviewing it for a while there.
I did that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a bit of a sticky launch in the last week, but for good reasons, I suppose, instead of No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk's reasons. They're just too dang popular.
Yes, they are. It's a lot's been going on. So, bye. A lot's been going on. They've been topping the Steam charts. They're one of the biggest games ever on Steam, and that was before it even launched. And we talked about this a little bit last week. But
Dana,
what?
I know you're being paid to say this stuff.
I wish I was. I'm actually review is over and I'm on my own and I'm actually playing the game. I'm not writing guides. I'm not doing anything. I'm just playing it for fun.
I saw you
That's
on Twitch all
weird.
decked out in your Lost Ark gear with your Lost Ark branded.
I
drinks
actually
and
tattooed it on my
everything.
forehead too for money. I'm just a walking
yeah.
ad. There's
Just
makeup.
Makeup
here.
is covering it. Yeah, we all
The
know.
forehead's big enough for any advertisements, so send them my
Sit on
way.
your
Standing
Bezos.
for Lost Ark.
But yeah, it's been a crazy launch, that's for sure, and it's neat to see. I don't know, it makes me happy. It makes me want.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. It
Right
looks
now,
cool.
it's the third highest streamed game on Twitch right now.
Yeah.
Or
it's
second
all
highest
over the
game,
place.
third highest category.
And like, I didn't even give it that great of a review. Like, it's a good game. It's good. It's good. It's not. Well, that's like I think I gave it a 7, a 7.5. Like,
which on our scale is a pretty solid.
There are spiders. Yeah, 7 is. This is fine. This is good. It's not like breaking the mold or anything. I will say that last week I was mistaken, and I've been corrected in my review. It doesn't have pay to win features in particular. So that's pretty cool that it doesn't. I mentioned that you had to pay for this monthly sub with your pet to get a stat bonus. It turns out you get the stat bonus anyway. You do still pay for your pet, and it gives you like quality of life things, and it helps you level faster. So it helps you like build your rapport faster. So it's more like a pay to progress faster. Not win. Which is winning. Not win. Not win, because it doesn't make you. Well, an MMO doesn't end, right? Like there's still so much once you get to the end. So it'll get you to bits and pieces of it faster, but it's not going to put you above people that didn't pay. It's just going to put you there before them.
Plus, the pay to progress system is inherently self-defeating too, right? Like, oh, I'm at the end of the live service thing. Oh, it's not fun.
Okay, but if are there PvP servers?
I don't know about PvP servers specifically, but there is PvP in the game. Yeah.
Okay, because like I would argue that the whole like quote unquote pay to progress is kind of a misnomer in the sense that it is essentially pay to win. If like World of Warcraft, you can go into servers that's like don't have those restrictions, and anyone from like opposing factions can just attack you at will, because that way, you can level up faster than everybody.
I haven't experienced that at all.
And
it's mostly a PvE game. To join the PvP, you have to like go to a certain place and do a certain thing. It's not like you just get shot. Like, oh god, bad memories from WoW. Why'd you bring that up? Like every time you try to spawn, somebody kills you.
And that is my point.
Yeah, like, no, it's not like that at all.
No, I think we're kind of past that as an industry, right? Like like Final Fantasy 14 doesn't do that at all.
You can still do that on WoW. So
WoW is not the rest of the industry anymore. Like they're still in the past.
Those days where you had to call in any of your like level like 40 or like 60 friends because one asshole was just tanking
I'd take my leveled character and I'd be like, I'll be right back, and I'd come back on my mythic geared hunter and just destroy everybody because I had a pet. Like, you're doomed now. Like, I'm not leveling anymore, but I feel good.
I see that a lot in New World.
Oh yeah, are they doing that again?
Amazon's other MMO.
Incident. The lesser MMO.
Lesser.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun.
This is Dana's time to get the list for this week. It's not mine.
Sorry, that was really cool.
You can buy real estate in the game, and it's not like NFTs, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, I wish
this is where we're at. That's like, there's no NFT.
Weird.
I wish PvP was as easy to use in. Well, it's very, very easy in New World. You just press the U key on your keyboard, and you're set for PvP.
We did it.
I've done that a few times by accident.
And,
dead.
Oh, crap.
Almost. Very, very quickly, people hunt you down. I've seen a fair few people get hunted by 10.
So it's like you can just run around in New World and be safe, but if you switch into that mode, you are now in danger.
Yep.
Okay, if people are like attacking you, can you just be like, nope, and press the button again?
I don't know. I'm too scared to try.
Oh, that's all I would do. I'm just like
too fragile to survive.
Yeah, I'm made of glass. I will fall apart.
On sneak attack. Oh no, off. No bueno.
Solid strategy. On off. Yeah, that's I almost forgot about that New World game. Like Amazon's making a pretty substantial run
at the MMO
at the top.
category.
Yeah,
and MMOs are no small feat. Like they're astounding in their size. So that's cool. I dig it. Let's go. Happy that it's doing well. Gonna keep playing it for fun. So don't tell my boss that. He's gonna ask me for guides or something. No.
It's a good thing your boss doesn't listen to the show. So
not at all. And is not right
presently
there.
Here.
Wait. He's right there, guys. I can see him.
Oh God.
I'm an adult. I'm gonna get kicked out.
Speaking of massive scale, let's move into a review section and talk about a little something called Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, nice.
So Enter David Walters.
You handled our review for this one.
I did.
What'd you think?
I gave it a 9. There was one tiny little thing that I wish hadn't happened that took a mark off. There were a
whole
couple.
mark.
Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
There's a couple of visual glitches mentioned in my review where I'd go to open a chest and Aloy would just sort of be sitting there rummaging through the chest and it wouldn't open and she'd be stuck in that animation. So a quick reload fixed the issue, but it was still kind of annoying to have to deal with. Other than that, it's kind of a masterpiece.
It's gorgeous.
It really is.
It does look very pretty from what you were streaming earlier. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I pretty much, aside from the very, very minor visual glitch that I experienced, I kind of said that it's the sequel that all sequels should aspire to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful so far. I don't know much about the actual storyline yet. I'm like a minute in. If anybody watched me die horribly on stream today.
Yeah,
Maybe I should master patience to play the game.
Get in this game, and I have not been able to put it down. Like it's still on my TV over there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
like there's so much to do. Like there's this. I said this in my review as well. There's a Skyrim level of side quests to do.
Oh Lord.
And things to see.
People are still going to be playing this in 11 years. Let's go.
I probably will, to be honest with you. And there's so much to do, and they've done such a good job with the voice acting and characterization of NPCs. And Aloy is probably the best main character I've ever played.
Wow.
I dig her. I just really liked her animation. I know everybody's talking about like how detailed she is and realistic and whatnot, and I'm just watching her react to things. Like she's looking around and you just see like her eyebrows doing eyebrow things. I'm like, oh, that's normal. And I was talking about their mouth movements. A lot of the times in games, I cannot stand watching their mouths move because it either doesn't match up or it's just like a da da da, or the teeth look really weird. It's a whole thing for me.
Yeah.
And it looks really good.
The level of detail is pretty astounding. Like my girlfriend sent me like a funny little like tweet today that was like gamer bros freaking out at the fact that like they actually rendered like the little like peach fuzz hairs on the side of her face, like because like newsflash, people, like everyone including women have little hairs on their face.
We are not baby smooth.
And it's just like the humor in that tweet alone of like, you know, gamer bros coming to this realization, but like there's just like that one moment where I was like, holy shit, like what a level of detail, like just showing what the PS5 is capable of, like is equally as impressive as, you know, dumb people.
I saw that tweet of that person who said, someone want to explain to me why Aloy's got a beard, and I saw that on a picture of Kratos. Someone explain to me why Kratos has a beard.
Like it's ridiculous. That
unrealistic expectations of Greek gods.
Yeah. Right. Oh, he's Norse now.
Once these boys hit puberty, they'll understand. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Someday.
I hit puberty at 27. So.
I don't have that problem.
Puberty?
I definitely have a lady beard. I don't want to talk about it. I'm like pushing past puberty into like the end of times. So settled. Yeah, that's what we're calling it now. What was I gonna say? Oh, the one thing that they didn't change that I really wish they did, but I think it might be a personal issue or just nobody cares. The way she jumps makes me crazy.
She does jump very high for a human.
Like she gives it her all to jump this high. It's like her whole body. It's a lot.
A tiny stone and she's jumping 8
like,
feet in the air.
Imagine if you're trying to make
jump though.
Yeah. Well, you like jump and grapple.
Can you wall jump?
You can't wall jump.
That was ridiculously good. Yeah, it was that jump I can't get past, but I'm trying to get a hold of a handle on the controls. I think I made a comment that I was never really great with like the Mortal Kombat combos, and with this you have to remember a lot of combos, even if it's just, hey, when you're trying to grapple or when you're trying to launch off of a grapple, or when you're trying to jump over this, or like there's a lot of button combinations, and that's part of why I was getting my butt kicked, because I'm like holding down buttons I shouldn't be holding down. I'm like, why did everything go slow motion? They haven't even taught me how to do that yet.
Right.
Oh, I shouldn't do that. So
full disclosure,
turns
I
out-
played on story difficulty, which is like the easiest difficulty.
oh
Okay.
God,
That's valid.
Big deal.
I just wanted to.
I was playing
enjoy the game.
but that's
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. How dare you have fun, David?
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
yeah.
If I wanted to play
Yeah.
on Crushing, I'd play Uncharted.
I will give David the credit. He does usually go back and play a game 17 times, so he'll get to
I
hard.
want to get
So
that
when you
platinum
get there.
trophy. Those
Yeah.
difficulty-related trophies, man.
I mean, like
Yeah.
that's
Get there.
realistically like that is like an effective way to play games. Like not to like
Mhm.
you know be gatekeeping and tell people how to play games. But it's just like you know normal mode should be the standard mode just so you can actually like take everything and enjoy the game. And if you
Don't spend the
like
whole
it
time
enough,
sweating and crying,
yeah,
wetting
like we
yourself.
have Dark Souls exists. We have Dark Souls, but it's
Yeah, we're
like
good.
you want to actually just enjoy a game, play it on normal, and if you like it enough, okay, go back and play it on hard mode. Like actually get something else out of it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, not every game needs to disrespect your time by being like obtusely
Yeah.
difficult off the bat.
Yeah.
Well, like I
This
said,
one's
there's
too for
5
me. It's too
difficulties.
pretty.
Hmm,
Yeah.
Right.
well,
Yeah, this one's too pretty. I started on easy. I didn't wuss out, David. But you watched me. I destroyed
fired.
myself repeatedly because I jump into an area and I'm like, look how pretty. Hey, there's loot. Oh, I'm dead. Crap.
yeah, it's distracting.
Every time. So
So,
you know,
speaking of like
patience.
of replayability and like the sheer number of quests and stuff, like did it start to feel stale at all? Like with the objectives you're doing in those side quests, or
I mean, in an open world RPG, there's always going to be these fetch quests.
run here, talk to this person.
Yeah,
yeah,
but I feel like everything looks so good. I kind of don't mind it.
yeah,
Yeah.
You see, there's so much to see, and the environments are so different. Like you go from a snowy mountain to the Mojave Desert to
Jungle.
to the jungle. Yeah. Whereas in the first game you're in the Colorado mountains. This one I think takes place in a little bit of Arizona, California, Nevada,
I could
and
never
Utah.
know that.
Nice.
Never know that information. I could play the game 100 times. I'd have no idea.
well,
Okay, cool.
there's a map going around, and people have like laid the game map over like the actual geography of the U.S.
Yeah.
and it's kind of astounding actually to see them in comparison.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned to Dana last week. I showed her the map, and I said, "Do you see how much of this map I still have to unlock? I've been playing this game for 25 hours."
Mhm.
But,
See,
like,
but I said that same thing with you guys with Lost Ark. I'm like, I'm 20 hours into this game and I'm like level 15 and there's no
Right.
reason for this. I'm just like, look how pretty and look
Yeah.
at this. And oh crap.
Like is there like a genuine like sense of I guess like uniqueness to a lot of the quests though? Because I mean like when you sort of like when you say that there's like a Skyrim level of side quests, to me that's just like like ugh, like because every quest in Skyrim just is like literally copy paste identical. But like when you look at something like Witcher 3, like there's so many side quests that just seem like they start off like seemingly like fetch quests and then they evolve into something completely different. Like each quest does kind of feel unique in that way. Like does Horizon sort of have that same sort of like thing?
Absolutely, yeah. There's one I did earlier on this afternoon where
Spiders.
I'm pretty far into the game, so I don't want to say too much. Where I meet this group of people, they're what's called delvers. They search ancient ruins for machine parts,
Same.
etc. So they need you to go find why they can't get into this one specific area, and this one specific area had all these machines that you need to go take care of, and then that leads you to 3 separate areas, all that have their own individual machines that you got to take care of, different codes that you got to find.
And that's something with Horizon 2 though. You're not fighting the same machines every single time. And I realize any other game, like one round you're fighting spiders, and then this round you're fighting lions. I don't know. They seem the same to me.
Spiders and lions.
But the way that
they're
each of them,
identical.
the way that the
Historically.
mechanics work for each one, like there's actual mechanics for each specific boss, which is kind of cool.
I mean, you saw in your stream earlier on the Bioware machine, one of the first one you come across. If you scan it and look at its actual information, there's about 15 different subtypes of this particular machine.
That's new in this one, though. Like the
Yeah.
way that you can go through, once you scan it, you can go through sub menus while you're scanning it to see what each thing. That's a lot of
You can
reading for me
target-
while trying to kill
target
something.
Individual parts. Some parts will be labeled weak spot, where if you shoot it with an arrow, it.
Well, that was in the
I'm a
last
sucker
game
for that
too.
stuff, though.
So much reading.
But each different variant.
The thing that I'm saying that's different, though. The thing that's different, though, is the way you can sort through them. Like before, you would like hit the button and it would take you to a different part of their body, but now there's like a circle with little nubbins on the circle, like a menu that you can go through. And I thought that was kind of neat. Nubbins, yeah. I like that word.
Trees,
wee nubbins. Yeah, I thought that was different.
Size as well.
There's lots going on in that game.
Zero Dawn had 3 different skill trees. Forbidden West has 6.
Goddamn.
I didn't even. I played for 2 hours today, and I didn't even get to like leveling up or anything like that. Just okay, cool.
Basic stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
47 years later.
You were really happy about the stash as well, as same as I was. Where if you pick up too many items, it goes automatically to your stash, and you're not left with items that you can't pick up.
And that guy, what's his name? Varl.
Varl, yeah,
we like him.
Yeah, I'm almost 40 hours into this game, and I have not filled up the stash yet.
Well, I don't think you can fill up the stash then.
Yes, you can.
Or you just die a lot.
It has a finite amount of space. I still haven't filled it, and I pick up literally everything. I've been watching you play RPGs too much.
That's right. I'm a hoarder.
Yeah, this all sounds really good. I'm actually kind of glad that I haven't finished the first game. Like I've done the intro mission to it, so I'm like, I don't have time for something this big right now. So I'm kind of glad that it's going to be there down the line.
Yeah, I think it's going to eat my life away.
Yeah,
for sure.
A Herculean undertaking.
All right.
Well, what else we got for reviews?
You, Chris.
Me,
got,
I guess. So
yes.
Speaking of
regality of sorts.
Speaking of other follow-ups, one that's decent is King of Fighters 15. I got to review this one last week. It says something about the state of the genre that I was just impressed that I didn't feel like it was incomplete intentionally because they wanted me to buy season passes. That's kind of been how I've felt with all the other fighting games I've played in the last few years, like Dead or Alive 6 or Soul Calibur 6. But it's like, yeah, this feels like a nice baseline, but I feel like they left half of it on the floor intentionally just because they wanted to milk me down the line for more DLC. Especially Dead or Alive 6, which is like, if you were to buy all the DLC in that game, I think you'd be looking at several $100s worth just for all the crappy trinkets and other characters they sell.
Such a shame too, because Dead or Alive was such a good series for kind of it was almost like a cult kind of game, in terms of the bigger name fighting games.
I mean, people kind of
found that rabbit hole.
People latched onto it for certain bombastic
assets.
They were not subtle.
What?
This is a game series where, yes, Dead or Alive. This is a game series where you could go and set your age, and
we're just booing
graphics of certain body parts on certain combatants.
Listen,
This is the thing that they
we're
used
focused
to do
on the fight.
But I always thought it was a shame because it really was a good format. There was a really good engine for fighting games beneath all of that, and then they just kind of got lost in the DLC woods. I feel like most other fighters I've tried have done that, but this one, King of Fighters 15, felt like a good, solid fighter in its own right, which I think says more about the genre than the game itself. But King of Fighters has been a bit of a niche favorite for me personally. I went from Dead or Alive to that, and play a bunch of the arcade versions. So it was nice to kind of come back to this series. They've stepped up the presentation a little bit since I last played them, although sadly. Again, Dead or Alive came to mind because it still kind of looks like those quality cutscenes down to even some of the characters even look similar. There's a wrestler guy they added in the last game that just reminds me of the wrestler from Dead or Alive. I feel like the genre needs to develop a lot more. It didn't feel like a next gen experience per se. I was playing on PS5 and it didn't really feel like a PS5 game. You're still dealing with these really kind of basic character models and corny cutscenes. It's just
You sound underwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, it was like underwhelmed is probably a good way to put it. Like it's a solid base there, and yeah, there's DLC coming. They're planning to support it for the rest of the year with other content. But
It's
yeah,
fine. You sound like it's fine.
That's
it's
the thing I
fine.
find about fighting games, though, is that what can you do?
So yeah, like there's
Fight.
a story mode. There's a story mode, and you can play through it a bunch of times with different combinations to get different endings and things like that. I actually felt pretty motivated to do that, which is saying something. Like a lot of time, it's like, okay, well, for a little tiny cutscene, do I really want to go through this repeatedly?
Yeah.
Kick butts and stuff, as Joe says. Yeah, there's online modes which I couldn't do before the review embargo because there's no one online to play against. But like those have no appeal after launch because you're just gonna get stomped constantly. Like I've never had a good match in a fighting game online.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, Smash aside, Smash is the exception, I would think.
Well,
I have had decent matches when the network allowed me. But,
yeah,
like, straight up
Mash
fighting
all
games.
the buttons. Is that not how we do it?
No. I mean, Smash is the one for me that I like genuinely hate now because like everybody plays like cheese balls because they all think they're going to tournaments at some point in their life and like they don't try to actually make the fight like fun. They just, you know, it's like, okay, you watched a video online about how to exploit this character, like good for you. So like it's like hearing Chris say that, it feels to me like, I guess the feeling that I had after playing Dragon Ball FighterZ, like I was like, I played that and I was like, okay, this is it. I will never play a good fighting game ever again. We've hit the apex. Like everything about that
game is only downhill.
But I mean, everything about that game is just like rock solid dynamite. Like the story's great. It actually like it functions in the sense of like being like just goofy enough to be Dragon Ball, but also like acknowledging the fact that it's a video game. Like the fighting is so easy to get into, like easy to pick up, difficult to master. Like the detail in the animations and how much effort they put into like the super moves looking like they were pulled straight out of the anime. And like that's the one where like I've gone online and played games, and even like the times that I've gotten my butt kicked, like these guys who are pulling out these like 100-hit combos, it's like, okay, like you put the work in to be able to do that. It's not just like, okay, you can, you know, like easily exploit one character sort of like, you know, attacks like in Smash Bros. Like Mario has like
Scorpion?
Well, it's like you play Smash Bros. And it's like everyone who plays as Mario plays the same way. They all do the same thing. They just, you know, they go to the edge, they wait for you to get there, they throw you off, they try to forward smash you down. Like it's copy paste. Everyone does it. But like you play someone in FighterZ, and it's like everyone has like their own like different combination of characters. They all know how to like use them in like combination. So it's like when they actually kick your ass, they put the work into doing that. Like they know how to play those characters. They, you know, and it feels like a fair fight.
To be fair to King of Fighters 15, like I feel like I wasn't really giving a good impression of it because I mean it is what it is with the genre, but it does have that. Like, it will reach that level. I think it has that technical solid foundation where there's 39 characters. They all feel great. They all have a unique style that fits. They managed to walk the line between your straight up like karate, like your straight up actual martial arts from the world with that supernatural stuff they do. Like there's people throwing fireballs. There's one of the new characters uses this like sand coffin technique, which feels a little grabby, but like otherwise that technical balance is there. Yeah, she when I played against her, she was grabbing me like out of the air and this like dropped me like in like a sand coffin. It's the best way I can describe it.
Like Gara from Naruto.
Like Gara from Naruto, yeah. I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. Totally know what we're talking about now.
Oh, yeah, now she knows.
This is me. This is totally me. Totally your audience.
Yeah, no, like the presentation is pretty good aside from some corny story mode stuff, and the basis is there. Like this would be a good competition game for sure. It's just, yeah, I mean, like I'm just kind of taken away from this that, you know, the genre is healing itself after it shot itself in the foot by chasing DLC and esports and trying to force things where they don't belong.
Oh, Street Fighter.
Yeah, and actually one other thing too, Street Fighter 4 turned me off with his final battle because the final boss just pulls out every annoying signature move from the whole series. This final boss in this one is challenging without resorting to the level of cheapness. So again, the genre is healing, basically.
It's healing.
Yeah,
It's
the takeaway.
All right.
It's
Very nice.
I'm glad you feel warm and fuzzy.
Cool.
And not
Yeah,
just
it's not-
fine.
just not blown away. Yeah, just warm and fuzzy like I used to be, and that's
Cool.
where we're at.
Not jaded in the slightest.
Not at all.
Mm.
Speaking
fine.
of nostalgia, though, and old style, old timey things,
That's
Brandon,
okay.
you were checking out Cuphead, right?
Yeah, the new series on Netflix that is launching tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. The review is also launching tomorrow.
Yeah, but I got to see it. It's a mixed bag because I think they really did capture the look of the games. They look of that kind of old style, like 1930s, 1940s animation that has that fluidity to it that you don't see in modern animation as much. But the storylines also harken back to that kind of simplistic, like slapstick, like nothing really matters storylines that animation's kind of moved away from. Like kids animation is more intelligent now than it was in the 90s or like 80s. Like Adventure Time, Steven Universe, Amphibia, Owl House, etc. They don't take kids for granted. They give kids the ability to follow a story. It's fun and colorful. Each individual episode is just a fun romp. But if you do follow it, there is more depth to it. And I feel that Cuphead doesn't have that, which is weird because the game is designed more for adults. Like it is a hard game. It is not a game designed for everyone to just kind of jump in and just kind of have a quick run. It is a hard, punishing game. And the fact that the show is so simple might take away some of that. People that might play those games and like love the Cuphead game and then jump on the show and say, well, this isn't for me. There's not enough depth here for me. And a kid will watch the show and then want to play the game, and they won't be able to enjoy the game as much because it's not really designed to be accessible.
It's like they
It's
created
not
two
a
completely
game mode.
separate universes.
Yeah.
Definitely not a game I would give a kid. Like I
No, it's a
don't even want
hard
to play it
game.
myself. Like I watched
Yeah.
them play. Like this is definitely not for me. Like I'm glad I'm watching this because it's really cool stylistically.
It's not
but
that hard.
oh shut up.
Have you beat it, Jordan?
You know what? I got
Yeah.
like no, because not because I couldn't, just because I stopped
Mhm.
playing it. Like I got to the
I can do that. I
third
just don't want
island.
to.
yeah.
I got to the island where you fight the dragon and those guys, and I kind of
It's
just
not
like
that far.
stopped playing it.
That's like halfway through.
It's like the
Okay, well,
tutorial.
whatever.
Come
I just
Good noob, yeah.
It's so easy. I just don't want to do it anymore. It's fine.
I mean, I beat a couple bosses
Shut
like 100%, so I don't know where all this like, oh, it's so hard. It's like,
but the thing is, it's not a game that's like
no,
has
but
training wheels
you're
that are
right. You're right.
accessible.
100%.
Let's be
Well,
clear. It's not the hardest game on earth. It's
No,
just not a game that's designed to let the average person jump in and feel good about themselves.
Well,
It
and
is
that's
like literally obtuse, yeah.
Yeah.
it's kind of
Not a game for Dana, is what I hear.
Yeah.
Also, yes.
It's kind of the thing I wonder too, because like it's weird that because I've heard not just you saying that, but I've seen some other reviews online that were kind of saying the same thing. And it's like I wonder if like the sort of like the simplicity of it is like intentionally pointed at like older people who might remember the cartoon, like Felix the Cat and
Jordan,
those kind
throw it
of
out
like.
there. The average person that remembers Felix the Cat from the 40s probably isn't going to watch Cuphead.
Well, I mean, I
I
remember
remember
because
it
I
and
kind of
we'll
just like
watch
those are some of the cartoons I grew up with just because they were in like syndication and you would like watch them.
Sure,
right?
but
Like,
I don't like
There was exposure.
Tex Avery and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That was a show that I at some points were like, oh, that's on TV. That was from the 40s. That's cool. But you were already it was on TV because it was cheap to put on TV.
No,
not because
but that's what I mean. Like those are
Jetsons.
those are still sort of like cartoons that do kind of like harken back to like our childhoods just because they were on and like I remember as a kid like growing up with the old Flintstones that had like a laugh track behind it, like
That was
and
They
I
also
used to
smoked
love-
lunchtime
God,
at
they
also
coming
did
home from
love their
school. Tomato
cigarettes,
soup,
yeah.
grilled cheese, KD,
Yep.
Flintstones, and
Flintstones.
Perfect Strangers.
Speed
But they-
Racer too. Like I grew
But
up
like
with Speed
but
Racer.
Jordan, they
Cousin
also
Melody.
They were also smoking cigarettes in those shows.
No,
Let's be clear here.
Listen, I'm not debating the quality of it. I'm just saying, like, those are things that we did grow up with because we were like adjacent to them. So, like,
of course,
that's what I mean. Like,
or was like grandparents would show you this, like, oh, this is this cool thing from when I'm
old school Looney Tunes as
yeah,
well.
I accept, like, there are people that know those things. I'm saying, if you're trying to appeal to the modern audience that knows Adventure Time, knows Steven Universe, that knows all these new shows that are showing what can be done in animation for kids and adults, this show is showing what can be done in animation and then putting the story as the last point they're really dealing with. And that's the problem. Yes, I think there could be a lot of depth in that universe. They could do things with those characters. They can keep it silly. They can keep that kind of 1940s animation and the 1940s concept and still not talk down to their audience, not expect their audience to just kind of expect the simplest thing possible, like an entire episode of them figuring out how to use glue. Sure, that exists.
And that's something that would be more like dumbed down to kids my child's age, like, and that wouldn't be where we would go.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's just part of my point, like whether or not that was intentionally done to like stay in the style of like the old school 40s.
I think that's what they were trying to do, but they were trying to like make it like the episodes are also like 11 minutes long, so they definitely were trying to go to the old like 1930s, 1940s short style. But I don't know, but I don't want that.
So you can't always get what you want, Brendan.
I'm saying they're trying. I don't know who its audience is for. Like, if it's trying to go with kids,
it doesn't seem completely.
I get what you're saying.
So if they want to do full kids, go full kids, and not have it based on a property that's not built for them. Like the same reason that I don't understand why they release like toys for rated R movies.
Bioshock's actually going to be a kids movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think they could have done a lot more with the characters, with that storyline, with the depth, because the games have depth to them, and there's a world that I want to explore. And the show is just kind of like, I don't know, they're weird and wacky. That's cool, right?
I also think to a certain degree, though, like with a lot of cartoons, like too many adults take too much like ownership of it, and they like. You know, because like it's sort of a thing that I often see people online griping about Teen Titans Go and how it like is like it's all just like, you know, fart jokes, and it like disrespects the legacy of the Teen Titans show, which really was never that good to begin with. But it's like, but it's like it's funny and it's silly and it's not trying too hard, and that's the point. Like it's making a mockery of these characters on purpose, but like people are just like especially adults watching cartoons are like way too like demanding of what like the cartoons should deliver. Not to say that cartoons like you said, like there are a lot of really good examples of cartoons that do a lot and have a lot of depth and complexity, but sometimes cartoons could just be stupid silly cartoons. So like
but the thought of the Jordan, the person that would actually enjoy the fact that the animation is done that way, they are harkening back to animation of the 30s and 40s. A kid's not going to get that. So that entire like premise is lost in them.
My kids would probably look at it and be like, "Why does it look like this?" Yeah. So
why does it look old? Why does it look cheap? And that it might not. It's not that at all.
Our kids want creepy stuff that looks like Coco Melon now.
Yeah.
And it's. I'm not saying that's good, but I'm saying that's kind of.
Yeah. So if you're trying to appeal to modern kids, you can't try to show it looks old, because modern kids are going to say, well, I don't want to watch something that looks old. And if you're trying to appeal to adults, you need storyline. So they've kind of sat themselves in the middle where it isn't really giving you depth, and the animation's really cool, but I don't want to sit through hours of show that has like nothing to say.
I'm actually surprised they marketed it or they made it for kids, because when they announced it, I was like, okay, so this is gonna be like an adult themed show, because this isn't a game they're trying to sell to kids, because kids aren't gonna enjoy this game. So like it just seems like they totally missed the mark on audience and demographics for sure. So they don't adapt the narrative of the game at all, like the whole deal with the devil.
I mean, they kind of do, but that's kind of like there's a bit of through line. Like there's the first episode they deal with the devil, and then he kind of just pops up every once in a while. This like none of the bosses are trying to get him out of the deal. He's just kind of there. And they just kind of wander over, and one of the bosses from the game is just kind of there and being kind of an asshole. So they kind of deal with them while they're trying to get ice cream or trying to water the lawn, and the vegetables are taking all their water. Like they just kind of have those characters that are the boss in the game just there around. They do things.
It seems like a real waste.
And then the devil
potential.
the devil's there. He's kind of foppish. He does his thing.
We don't use the word foppish enough.
No, we really don't.
No,
Good job.
yeah.
I like it.
But like the devil's the best part, and the through line with the devil, where like they have the deal, and they try to figure out ways to get around the devil. That's fun, but it's like 3 episodes out of like 12 I watched, I think, and it's just kind of there, and you're like, okay, cool, that happened, and then but there's no real through line, there's no real continuity, and there's also no consistency for the characters. Like shows that have a character have depth, they grow, they do things. The Cuphead characters are flat. They're silly, they're just one-dimensional characters, and that's fine. But when if you want to watch a lot of episodes of a show and see how the characters do things and evolve, there's none of that. They are like the Looney Tunes. They are like the early Mickey Mouse cartoons. They are what they are. They're going to be that through the entire show, and the end of the show, they have learned nothing.
Stupid cups.
Well,
Sorry.
it's
I think
also
I'm funny.
it's I think it's a little bit interesting at this sort of push towards bringing back old school animation, because this is sort of made me remember that they recently did that like a new run of Bugs Bunny cartoons where they kind of brought back the old animation, and they gave Bugs the yellow gloves again. But it's like it still looks really clean, like it was made for the modern day, but the way everything's sort of drawn and animated is very first gen Bugs Bunny. So it's like it's clearly made for kids. So it's weird. It's a tough call on who this is actually is for. I guess I'm just gonna have to watch it tomorrow and see what the buzz is about, because
the only thing that I can say is as a parent, with my kids are 2.5 and my son will be 7 next week, and I can tell you they would not turn this on. They would go through their list of Netflix shows and they'd pass it, and they'd pick some weird crap that I'm not saying is better or worse. I'm just saying they'd scroll right by it.
Yeah.
It would not call to them. Whereas I might go by it and be like, oh, this looks different. This is interesting. And by different, I mean old. And then I'd watch it and be like, oh.
Brendan kind of said too, it very clearly has an audience, right? Like you don't make a show based on a game like Cuphead, which is an indie game to begin with too. As popular as it is, it was an indie game to start with, and not know exactly who the audience is. So
But the problem that he's saying is that they didn't write for that audience.
No, that's
they
what I mean.
for the audience.
It's a very weird. It's a very weird.
It would be interesting to talk to them about it.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
What were you
Not what were you thinking, but tell me more.
Well, I think it's more. I think it might be the fact that they tried hitting both audiences. The storyline of the game where they're killing these bosses to get their soul back, that might be too mature. So they just have zany antics with the devil and zany antics with other bosses, but everyone's okay. No one dies.
Yeah, no.
Because the games are basically...
Which then kind of makes the devil a moot point, but that's fine.
The games, they are killing other people to take souls for the devil so they don't have to go to hell.
To repay their debt.
Does anybody want to explain to me why cups have souls or take souls?
When did this guy become Constantine?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jordan needs to watch the show. Brendan needs to not watch it anymore. And I'm going to keep scrolling by. That's all I got. I don't know about the rest of you.
But yeah. We'll move into our last little segment here and just talk about what else you guys have been playing. For Jordan, you didn't have any reviews. What have you been playing this week?
Well, I dove into as per usual, I've been playing some Fortnite because they finally brought
so much controls. Since I met you, Jordan.
Listen, but before you met me, I still liked Fortnite. I just stopped playing it because I was becoming my full-time job. And so they added motion controls across all systems, which is really cool. Because I've often said that I feel like playing on console with motion controls. Yeah,
the gyro controls on the PlayStation.
Gyro controls.
Specifically.
Yeah. because the Switch was the only one that did it, and I always felt that playing on the Switch was the best because like at the time I didn't have a computer that was good enough to run Fortnite, and like without playing like mousey keyboard, just for any shooter like mousey keyboard's the best way to go. Gyro controls really did a lot to like bridge the gap of like the kind of weird stick
didn't know
controls.
Fortnite had that at all.
On the Switch, yes, but it just came out, so now I'm finally it's a really big leap from going from a 720 30 frame game to 1080 60 frames on a competent system which also has motion controls. So I've been getting used to that.
Wait, is this why my 7-year-old's been kicking my butt in Fortnite forever? He's had motion controls, and I didn't know that.
It could be why he would be underperforming, because I didn't enjoy that when I tried it on the Switch myself. But
well, I always liked it. I always thought it was because it's one of the better examples too of like a company like actually like adapting for the Switch, because there's too many games on the Switch that only when they implement gyro controls like for like shooters like like remakes or re-releases that only go in like the roll control. They don't adapt for yaw controls, and like Fortnite was one of the only games that actually like let you choose whether you wanted roll or yaw. The new update seems to just like make everything like it just merges everything together. So if you want to like roll, you can. If you want to yaw, you can. It all works. They added a lot of like extra like really fine details for like advanced options for motion controls, which was really cool. And so I've just been doing that. And then I started playing Shin Megami Tensei 5 finally.
Ooh.
And I think I came to the realization that Undertale and Paper Mario Sticker Star ruined RPGs for me.
You did say that, yes.
You said that before, yeah.
Because because I've been playing it now, and it's just like I don't know if it's maybe like I've gotten older and I'm less patient, but it's like the game is moving at such a snail's pace, and it is genuinely upsetting me. Like
that might be Shin Megami Tensei for you as well. Like,
but I remember really liking Nocturne when I first played it, but now it's like it's just
played
taking
it recently.
I guess not. Jesus Christ. Like it's taking so long to do anything. And it's like going from these like sort of like, very subversive, like interesting takes on the RPG like formula that like really did a lot for the genre and like improved it in a lot of ways, and kind of like going back to that very old school thing where it's like, here's a boss monster. Oh, you're too weak for it. You better spend 9 hours leveling up because like all the monsters in the area aren't paying out any experience. It's like, why is this fun? And then people complain about Sticker Star like it's the worst one because you can't get experience and level up. It's like, why do you want to do this?
Why hurt yourself this way?
It's just like
dopamine of leveling up. That's what it is.
Well, it's annoying because it's like there's no dopamine to it. Like it's like taking 7 hours to get one level because every demon pays out like no experience. But then like the demon that gave me a quest in like the level 1 area has to send me over to to fight a monster that's like 5 levels above me, and I can't level up fast enough to make this like enjoyable. It's just
a lot of it sounds like an SMT thing, yeah. Because like I played.
It is a bit of an SMT
last year, and I found it very artificially difficult.
I found like it sounds very much like the first half hour of Final Fantasy VIII for me.
Yeah, it's like
when you go find the GF in the cave there, the fire one.
Yeah,
you leave the school very under-leveled, and it's very powerful.
And it's
that
like
one's a bit different because like things scale differently in that compared to other games. Without going too far into my nerd hole.
This one's a little. I mean, it's annoying too because like there's the whole like demon fusion system, which like obviously like does help a lot. Like if you get into the minutia of it, but it's like you can't fuse demons that form one that's like a higher level than your main character, so you're still like you're walled off behind all these things, and it's like looking at games like Undertale that like did a lot with the whole like playing with these ideas of the RPG, and like okay, you can still have turn-based combat, but like we're gonna make the way you dodge attacks differently, or like the way that you like engage in it is different, like the characters and story and everything, like the music that kept going off on my phone earlier. I was listening to some of the music from Deltarune and just like thinking about that, like because it's like the final boss moment that is like such an interesting, fun way to have a final boss fight that like builds on like all these characters that you had met throughout the thing, and it was so genuinely engaging, and it pumps you up in such a degree. And I can't think of a single moment thus far that has actually made me go like, okay, like I'm really invested in the story and this characters. Like it's like, I don't know, I feel like I've been spoiled on the.
How long have you put into it though?
I believe now I am 7 hours into it, but I haven't defeated the first boss. So
no, but like I was just wondering if you like rage quit by now. I would have rage quit by now. So good for you.
I'm not saying that I don't like it and that it's a bad game. I actually do like it, and I think it is a very good game. But I just think that like in terms of other RPGs that I've played, you know, there are ways that you can evolve the genre that make it a lot more fun and interesting. And going back to this very, very old school way of playing, it's like I don't know, I'm not having as much fun as I think I should have.
Like to be fair too, like these could not be more opposite games. Like SMT is deliberately not trying to innovate the genre.
No, that's what I mean.
Catering to that traditionalist background. So like,
but
yeah,
it is still.
I'd be more concerned if you didn't see a huge difference between like the most transformative and like free thinking RPG to date with like an iteration of the most deliberately archaic or like RPG series in the market, basically.
Well, and I think that's kind of my what I mean too, is that like because it is a like, you know, a modern day like made for, you know, like modern consoles RPG. So the fact that it does, like, you know, you can see like some areas where it kind of like tries to streamline things and make it a little bit more like seamless, but then there's the other ways where it's just like still so shackled to those old ideas. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Speaking of old ideas, no, that was rude. Chris, what are you playing?
I am playing an old game, actually.
Speaking of,
I tried
playing old games.
I'm over here stealing your job.
So I've actually been playing when I'm not playing Arceus or Fortnite. Actually, I was playing that a good chunk this week too. I've been playing Zelda: Link to the Past for the first real honest time. I never really clicked with this game because I mean, really? I didn't have a Super Nintendo. Whenever I did play it, the people I played with didn't own it, so I kind of missed it entirely. I was stuck on Game Boy playing Link's Awakening instead, which I still think is a better game. And whenever I have tried to like get into it, it's like I just can't get past the first area really. But I've been watching a randomized playthrough by Griffin McElroy over on YouTube, and now granted he's playing a very outlandish build of the game where the sprite has been replaced with one that looks like Guy Fieri for reasons I don't know.
I like these reasons.
Also, like it's a randomizer, everything's mixed around, and there's a one-hit kill rule. Yeah, okay. There's a one-hit KO rule, so like if he gets touched, he dies instantly. But just watching that, I was like, I should give this an honest try. So I've been checking it. I've gotten much further than I've ever gotten in it. So I'm actually kind of enjoying it. But I never clicked with me until now for some reason.
It's a hybrid version of Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives.
Exactly.
I would say Link to the Past is one of the best. It's definitely in my top 5.
I can definitely see how it has influenced everything else, right? Like it's kind of like going back and seeing like the puzzle piece go into place, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, so like that's where this convention came from in later games, and
you play Ocarina of Time, and it's like 1-to-1. It's basically Link to the Past just in 3D
with the time travel thing.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the time travel thing is the basically like just the point where you get the Master Sword in Link to the Past, but it's also like the whole Light World, Dark World thing, right?
Yeah.
So it is there. But yeah, no.
I will say Link's sprite is awful. It's
really weird. It's super weird. I don't know why he's got pink hair, or that's supposed to be like the rim of his hat or something. It's real bad. It's a very weird sprite. That's kind of why I like they did the remastered version for the Game Boy Advance, where they gave him like the Wind Waker sprite where he actually has the yellow hair. They gave him like a little dodge roll ability. It's way better designed. But no, I'm right there with you, man. I love Link to the Past. I didn't play it for a really long time too, as well, because I just didn't have one, right? And it's like I didn't actually play it to completion until like I got my Wii and I downloaded it for the first time, like, and actually had it. So yeah, like it's really good.
And I'll probably be grabbing the last Oracle game on 3DS while I can.
Yep. Got to do. I think I got the.
Is that on the spreadsheet?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's
that
not
was
top
that
three.
was
top three is Pokemon Crystal, but
that was a must. Yeah, Silver and Crystal are up there for me. Oracle of Ages and Seasons were a must get when they first came out. I had to because they're so good. Oh, Nintendo, where's that like cool HD remake for the Switch?
So Link's Awakening got it. They could
yeah, they really need to do it with the Oracle of Ages and Seasons.
To be fair, that wasn't that one developed by Capcom.
Capcom did develop Ages of Seasons, Ages of Seasons, and Minish Cap.
Minish Cap too, right? Yeah,
that makes sense.
So maybe that's the hang up.
Oh,
yeah.
David, are you playing anything? Or are you just doing
other than
your Horizon? Do you have Nintendo now? Do you have a spreadsheet? Did they share it with you and not me?
No,
no spreadsheets.
It's Horizon, and I might go clean up the rest of the trophies for Uncharted, the Legacy of Thieves collection.
How is that?
It's really good.
I mean, that really got overshadowed by like Arceus and stuff like that. I've heard no one talking about it.
Yeah, Uncharted 4 was great on its own. It looks even better remastered now. And I'd never played Lost Legacy before, and Chloe was one of my favorite characters from Uncharted 2, so it was good to see her back.
I cannot name drop like this in games. I don't care how many times I played it. No friggin' idea. Oh, I hate my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shortened game, Lost Legacy. It's only 9 chapters, I think, and Uncharted 4 is 22. And it, I think, originally came out for the PS, I want to say, Vita.
There it is again.
Oh, God damn it. I'm leaving.
Vita
Flip the table.
Or
Golden something is Lost Legacy was 4 PS4.
And stream.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, Golden Abyss was PS Vita. That's right.
Yep.
I have both. But yeah, other than those two, no.
Other than those two massive games, no, I'm good.
Just Horizon and Uncharted.
Just chilling.
Waiting on a few. But that's
Brendan, anything on your end?
No.
You did that Dune preview briefly.
Yeah.
Okay. He did a Dune Spice Wars preview.
Did you control the spice, thus controlling the world?
The problem is it's hard to show off an RPG like an RTS and have it look exciting without trying it yourself because it's like little characters moving over there. They built something that looks good. They did.
I think that's what was supposed to go there. Yeah. All right.
Like trying it, you see the minutia of how a game works. When you're watching it, you just don't get that. And it just I mean,
absolutely.
There's something you can get from like watching StarCraft competitively, and you see how fast they're doing something, how they're doing. When you're just playing a single player game, there's like they built a base. They started mining space. Like that looks good, I guess. That all looks like it should, but I don't know if it's fun or not. I don't know.
No, those kinds of games.
Was it fun to watch?
I remember way back in the day when my one friend was like trying really hard to get us into World of Warcraft. And like he would like sit us down and he's like, here, watch me play. And it was like the most boring thing to watch anybody do. But then like when I actually sat down and played the game, like I was head over heels in love with it. Like you can't show people RTSs or like those kind of like complex RPGs because they just will not get into them.
I'm like that with anything though. Like I can't process something unless I do it myself. Today at work, Brendan asked me something. I said, okay, so tell me what it says. And he said it to me. I looked up and went, I don't know why I asked you to read that to me. I processed none of what just happened. And I have to go read it myself. And I've always been that way. And I'm going to blame Miscast Joe there in the comments. I used to watch him play video games as a child. And I'm probably now traumatized and scarred from it because I used to get kicked out all the time. So now it's just a weird trigger. Can't watch games.
But I mean, you could watch someone play like Mario and kind of like get like, okay, it's like this looks fun. Like it's you could get into it.
It has to be something different for me though. Like I would have to go and watch like the speed runs or modded versions. Like I can't just watch it. I might go like I'm gonna say it wrong. The Pokemon Legends. Arceus. I want to say Arceus every time.
Arceus or Arceus. It's all good.
And I still said it wrong, even though you gave me two options.
You know what? Great. I used to say Arceus too. Actually, that's how I used to.
That might make more sense actually, but that's not how they did with it.
Well, they're wrong. But like I've watched that a few times just because I'm curious about it and I want to see if there's anything about it I might like. But to just sit down and be like, okay, you're watching this now, enjoy.
Well, to Brennan's point, it's the RTS, right? Like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on that doesn't come through when you're just watching. If you haven't put your hands on that ball once at least.
Yeah.
Like the StarCraft stuff, if you played it and you're watching that pro level stuff, it's like, okay, I can translate this to that high level play.
Watch
But
you
yeah,
watch
that
someone literally,
genre
it's
is
like,
inherently hard.
you
to
don't know how
watch.
long things take to build. You don't know what
Yeah.
that really means. You don't know, is this expert play? Are they doing expert things? Is this just the tutorial? I don't know.
Does a 6-year-old have the controller? We don't know, and we'll never know.
You watch someone play Papers, Please, like you will look at them like they are the weirdest people in the world. You actually sit down and play Papers, Please. It is the most engaging thing you have ever experienced.
I feel like that with that game Unpacking. I wonder if anybody's streaming that.
I've heard a lot of
sure
good things about Unpacking.
I like it. I've enjoyed it. I have problems, but I'm imagining there's probably somewhere streaming that, and someone is watching it, and that blows my mind.
Right now on Twitch, Unpacking has 108 viewers.
Hey, we did it! We did it.
That's more than the games I stream, so that's and even like I even did like a preview for Total War Warhammer 3, which is also reviewed on our site this week. Even a demo for that is like kind of difficult, right? Because like you're cut off from certain things, you have time limits. To really appreciate an RTS, I think you need to get your hands on it and just take your time getting used to it.
Hours of a game, and that's how you do it. Like an RTS is not a thing you can do in 10 minutes. Like, I know how to play this game now.
Yeah, no, that's mastered. Done and
I mean, that's nothing against the game. There's nothing against what they've done. No. It looks gorgeous. They've done a great job capturing the world. But I have beyond. They said it did this. I don't know. It is one of those genres that it's hard to preview without trying it, and it's even harder to preview and actually give it a good concept of how it's going to look when it's released, without playing it for like hours.
Well, and it's good that you know that too, though. Yeah. You're not just sitting there and being like, this game's great. And then you get your hands on it and be like, none of what they did was what was supposed to happen. Never mind. You know?
like someone could do an RTS and they're just building all the buildings they need to do just to show it off. But if you did that in the actual game, like, well, I'm out of money and have done nothing. Cool.
Well, I did that in that that tiny build game that I reviewed. It was just, I'm like, oh, I can just throw all the buildings directly on top of each other and have them topple down, but I've now completed my mission and it's totally fine. Cool. So who knows what they're doing, right?
Yeah. Did they render a little Timothy Chalamet? That's my question.
I didn't see him, but who knows?
He could have been tiny.
He's a special character.
Well, takes place
speaking of
special unit.
Speaking of, I watched that movie recently too, and I was actually quite impressed with how they translated the story.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you go see that in theaters, right?
I saw it in theaters.
You saw that first half.
I watched it on like Blu-ray in 4K, so it's not quite the same effect, but it was quite impressive still. Dennis can take his opinion elsewhere. It's fine on the TV screen.
It's Denise, right?
Yeah. Denise, I'm probably butchering it.
He's French. Come on.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not. I'm horrible speaking French. But I was watching with my wife who has no I've read the book, so I could fall back on that at least. So like at one point, like I was kind of wondering like, how much of this is coming through. Like, is this too obtuse?
It is dense.
It's dense, but they made it relatable. They made it really. It's easy to follow.
Even if you don't understand all the things that are going on, like that guy looks like a dick. Oh, he is a real dick. Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
They capture enough of it so you can get the tone of the books. You might miss a lot of the minutia of like, why is this random person have so much control? Oh, sure, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why not? We'll go with it. Like the book is so well written in certain ways. Like there's so many great
he went
phrases
crazy
that I love in it. And then he went off the rails entirely with the plot of the whole thing. But there's certain elements you can't translate, but the story itself came through pretty well, and visually spectacular as well.
A movie I'll never see. Okay,
you'll see it. You can see it.
No, I'm just not gonna.
You see it?
I heard enough. I'm good. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Sounds like someone fears fear.
You're right.
Which brings the little death.
On that note, got a blanket.
Now that we're quoting the litany against fear, we should probably wrap things up.
Probably.
So, if you'd like to read more on these topics and more, you can find full coverage at cgmagonline.com. Be sure to follow CG Magazine on all the socials. Just search for CG Mag. You'll find us one way or another. And if you have any questions or comments, please send them to podcast@cgmagonline.com, and we'll answer them on the air for you. David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I had a really good time.
And where can people find you?
On my couch. No. Twitter at David_W_85.
Awesome. And rocking in that chair.
Yeah. I'm trying to go blurry again.
Jordan.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, although I'm trying to get off of Twitter because I hate it now. Ninja X Jordan, and you can find me on YouTube at Ninja Jordan Reviews.
You hate it now?
I've always hated it, but now it's like I'm just so tired of it, and it's just not.
You've hated
like,
it for as
fun
long as I've
anymore.
known you, so
Now he's aware of it.
It's like not fun anymore, and it's not interesting anymore.
Was it ever?
and-
yeah, I don't.
No,
I just got into Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, and especially after like last weekend, it's like I don't want to be there anymore.
I don't want to know what happened last week.
No.
Oh yeah, we don't need to.
I was in
Dana.
Ottawa.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we knew that.
Yeah,
Dana,
that
where can
was
people
it.
find you?
You can find me at the Dana Eileen in a bunch of places, and now at CG Mag for a full year this week. So you're
Yay.
stuck with me for a little bit longer, though.
We did it.
We did
Right,
it. Thanks, David.
Hooray, team!
Yes.
Recent hires, yeah.
Yes. Crystal's the only one newer than me.
Yeah, I guess I would have.
No, new as me. Sorry, slightly older.
I was like September before that. Yeah, so a few
Yeah,
months.
a couple months older. Older.
And Brendan.
BFry 26 on everything.
And you can
Cool.
find me on Twitter at who I went to the wrong side this time. Hugathy.
You did so well
or-
last time.
I nailed it, so I overshot this time. Or here on Twitch at Guild2Tabs. All right, that's gonna do it for us this week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
Hey.